Tell the director to call the White House. Do your fucking job!
All right, what do you say we just pop right in, guys? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 20,000 subscribers. We are going to have a lot to talk about today, a lot to discuss. We got some new footage. We got some more detailed footage of what took place yesterday. We have some more footage taking place of what happened with the protest afterwards. We have some footage of the lies and the propaganda coming from pretty much every single member of the Trump administration, and we're going to have to call that out as it goes. But yeah, we're going to be speaking about all of that, as you'd suspect, and then about the the ongoing battle between NATO and the United States over Greenland, and we're going to be discussing Donald Trump's rhetoric about how the allies didn't help us and how infuriating that makes me. How I don't know. It's almost hard to express how mad that makes me, knowing what I know about what people went through, especially during World War II. The resistance fighters in France and the resistance fighters in Poland and Greece, and I mean all over the place. And the Allied help for them, and how it went to help us on D-Day. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Not to mention the fact that the only ever time that Article 5 from NATO has been invoked is by the United States after 9/11, in which our allies did come to our aid in both Iraq and Afghanistan. So, I mean, all of that we have to call out. But before we dive into it, what do you say we bring in the chat? How's everybody doing? Let me say hi to everybody. Throw you on the stage here. There you are, guys. What's going on? Make you a little bigger. There you are. What's going on, guys? What's up, Jen? What's up, Susie? What's up, Kathleen? How are you? What's up, Tiff, Tanya, Dame? Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody. What's up, Flipper? Everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Make sure you hit the respective like, thumbs up, whatever it takes on that platform that you're on. But yes, lots to discuss today. Couple people were on today with the Sunday morning shows, so we'll have a lot to discuss there. But first, let me just be very clear. Let me throw this on the screen. First off, thank you to the mods. I very much appreciate you guys. Thank you for keeping that chat safe. And thank you to everybody joining me. If it's your first time, thank you for giving me the opportunity to bring you the highlights, the news, my opinions, the facts of what's going on, and allowing me to call it out, on your time, on your dime. So again, if you would like to contribute to the show, you can call right here. It's a Venmo, easiest and quickest way to contribute to the show, or you can sign up just underneath me for a YouTube membership. You can also sign up at patreon.com/Boston Brian. So what do you say we dive into it? I'm going to throw this on the screen. I want to be very, very, very clear about what we saw yesterday and what we were discussing yesterday. And what we saw was clear cut. Let me throw this on the screen for you guys. Was a clear cut example of a state sanctioned execution in broad daylight on the streets of the United States. There is just no other way to put it. It is being sanctioned by the state, and we can tell that because of the lies and the propaganda and the bullshit coming from Kristi Noem, coming from the rest of these freaks, Dan Bavino, coming from Donald Trump, trying to paint this gentleman, Alex Jeffrey Preddy, as some like monster that was there to cause like egregious harm to these officers, which is just couldn't be further from the truth. Isn't what we see in the videos, isn't what we know about the man, isn't what we've heard from the family. So we'll be diving into that, a little bit of the background of Alex Jeffrey Preddy as well. So again, lots to get to, but this is a pretty accurate representation, I believe, right now you're seeing on your screen about what's taking place in the United States right now. Okay, and this I put up on Blue Sky, and this is put up by Krasenstein's, and the original picture, as you can see, is depicting on the left. The Nazis doing their thing during World War II, as they were known to do, in the equivalent picture in 2026 from the streets of Minneapolis from ICE and what they've been doing and perpetrating against the American citizens today. So as I put up there, you can see Einsatzgruppen ICE, and of course the Einsatzgruppen were the Nazi death squads that were tasked in kind of following up the military and going in and basically perpetrating what was known as the Holocaust by bullets, right? Where they, before they were into the gas chambers, before they got into the organized excuse me, I know I can talk, killing and systematic killing of the Jews and other people in societies that they didn't agree with or like or deem to be, subhuman. They were doing it by bullets. They were just tasked, these Einsatzgruppen were going around, and they were kind of sublet into like Einsatz commandos, and they had different subsections that went out and just rounded up the specific groups that they didn't like, and they shot them. Right. So again, a little backstory, a little detail on what it means and what I was talking about in the posting here. But I mean, again, let's be very clear on what we saw yesterday was nothing other than the state sanctioned execution of a man doing nothing other than using his First Amendment right to peacefully protest, and then helping a woman who was being harassed and assaulted by DHS and ICE agents. Okay. That's all that happened, and he was murdered in cold blood in broad daylight on the streets of Minneapolis for doing only that. Nothing about what these fucking thugs and these fucking Gestapo Nazi fucking pieces of shit did was in accordance with the law, in accordance with their fucking protocol, rules, or regulations. And we'll be diving into all of that because there is some more clearer footage that we can now, take a look at. As we were talking about yesterday, we took the screenshot yesterday. We were looking at the officer that took the gun out of the holster, but it was a bit grainy and it was hard to tell. Well, obviously some better quality footage has come out, and we'll definitely be taking a look at that, so we can kind of, make it a little bit more clear just exactly what took place yesterday, which, wasn't a guy wielding a weapon, wasn't a guy threatening ICE agents, wasn't a guy there to cause mass hysteria or mass harm to anybody, but is exactly what you saw on the video. A guy peacefully protesting and doing his best to keep a woman from being assaulted by these ICE agents, and was pepper sprayed in the face, beaten in the face with a pepper spray can, and then disarmed of his legally permitted to carry weapon, as he was legally permitted to carry. He was disarmed of that weapon and then shot dead in cold blood. And I don't know how anybody else could have possibly come to any other conclusion after seeing the multitude of different angles. The sound was there. You could hear it. I mean, there's even the video afterwards where the guy, they're looking for the gun. They're like, where's the gun? Where's the gun? You said there was a gun. Where's the gun? Right. And then, okay, before I get too deep into it, I know I'm going to get fucking hot. I'm going to get hot. I know I'm going to get pissed off because this is fucking unbelievably fucking infuriating. So, again, I just want to make it very clear what we saw yesterday. So as long as we're all on the same page, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is the most clear-cut example to date. This is even more clear-cut an example than Renee Nicole Good was. This is an even more egregious example of flagrant, just cold-blooded murder by ICE agents. There's just no other way to fucking put it. So, there's a bunch of things we'll be diving into. Here's just one of the things. Let me throw this on the screen for you because this is a today clip. And again, I got about 40 different fucking things we got to get through today. So I'm going to try to fly through it and get through it as best as I possibly can and make sure we give it the accurate and appropriate coverage it deserves. This is from today, and it says, video appears to contradict Trump officials on second ICE shooting. And again, like I said, we're going to be going on. We'll be hearing from Kristi Noem, Dan Bavino, what's his face? Todd Blanche was on with somebody else too. So I'm going to be calling out all their bullshit. It's pretty much the same statements that they were putting out with DHS yesterday. And it's just bullshit. It's just pure propaganda and them just sanctioning, again, the cold-blooded murder of a U.S. citizen who was legally carrying a firearm. And again, the same people that were up in arms and out there on the streets protesting and trying to defend people like Kyle fucking Rittenhouse, all of a sudden are nowhere to be found, right? All of a sudden, the don't tread on me fucking crowd is fucking Homer Simpson backing into the bush. Nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be heard. Crook, and it's funny how that happens, but a couple of these things I want to dive into. What do you say we start with this one? This is from, again, the Today Show. Quick clip. We don't have to dive through it all. It's just kind of the first couple minutes, and then we'll dive into, again, some other clips corroborating what is said here. So please hit that like button. Again, I'm Boston Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. I do appreciate you for joining me. Subscribe to the channel as we're on our push to 20,000 subscribers, and it's only with your help and your fucking viewership that we can get there. So I appreciate it. What do you say we dive into it? Thanks, mods. Thanks, Joe. Oh, thank you, Wes. Holy sugar. What is that all about? Okay, Brian, what have you done for me lately? Does it all come down to lives lost? Just one loss yesterday got a whole lot of attention. I don't know what that means, but I very much appreciate the contribution. Okay, Brian, what have you done for me lately? Does it all come down to lives lost? Just one loss yesterday got a whole lot of attention. I don't know. I'm not following you on that one, Wes, but I very much appreciate the contribution, brother. Thank you so much. What do you say we dive into this?
While in Minneapolis, protesters are expected out in large numbers today after a man was shot and killed by a federal agent in the streets on Saturday.
Not a man. Alex Jeffrey Preddy, again, an ICU nurse, right? Again, this is something that should be shown all over the place as well. So I might as well show it now. Let me put this on the screen because this is the man that we're talking about here.
Terrence Lee Randall,
Right here.
March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render them our honor and our gratitude.
And again, that is Alex Jeffrey Preddy right there, showing honor and respect for a fallen veteran. And that is the man that, again, was shot in cold blood, shot in broad daylight on the streets of Minneapolis yesterday by DHS and ICE agents. And again, just the antithesis of what they would have you believe are the people out there. I mean, again, this is not a blue-haired wine-drinking liberal mom, right? This is a white male VA working ICU nurse helping out there doing the Lord's work to help people. Like, this isn't the person that they want to get out there, like the news to get out there that are out there protesting, right? This is not who the Republicans would have you believe are out there. And again, this is who we're talking about as they talk about him going out there and trying to, create a mass event. And he's out there to obviously do harm to the agents. Like, fucking stick it up your ass. Every single fucking one of you sick pricks. Because all you're doing is condoning the actions of the ICE agents, of the fucking people that are clearly untrained, that can't handle these situations, that should not have fucking firearms in their possession because they're not mentally capable of handling a split-second decision. Clearly, the people and the officers in this position should have clearly communicated to one another saying, okay, there is a firearm, but it's holstered, right? There's a difference between a firearm in the guy's hand and a holstered firearm on the guy's hip. We can all agree to that, right? So the communication and just yelling and screaming gun, gun, gun clearly wasn't the right way to act. So clearly the fact that these people haven't worked together, don't know how to communicate with one another is another fucking hindrance. The fact that they're untrained, that the fact that they're fucking never done anything like this before, and the fact that they just have like a gun fetish and like wearing body armor and hate fucking brown and black people is the reason they're on the streets right now. So again, not just some guy fucking Today Show, Alex Jeffrey Preddy, like Renee Nicole Good, names that we're going to have to fucking remember. So sorry. I can't stand when that fucking shit happens. It shouldn't happen. And we should remember the names. And that's all there is to it. All right, here we go.
The second deadly shooting by immigration agents in less than 3 weeks. The victim, 37-year-old Alex Preddy, was an ICU nurse at the Veterans Hospital in Minneapolis, protesting the ICE raids in his city. This morning, local officials and Democratic lawmakers blasting the Trump administration, demanding once again an end to the operation. NBC's Camila Bernal is in Minneapolis with the latest, including a timeline of the fatal incident that appears to contradict the administration's account of the shooting. A warning that video is difficult to watch. Camila, good morning.
And again, just a minute of this and then we'll dive on because there's a ton we have to get to. And there's been, I want to get into this, which is like some more clear footage, seems to be like a zoomed in, a better resolution kind of shot of what was taking place, of some of the, the angles that we saw yesterday. So I definitely want to get into that. But I think there's maybe one other thing that I wanted to see from this. Let me see.
Hey, good morning, Willie. It is difficult to watch for a lot of people here in Minneapolis, which is why they've been braving these freezing temperatures to go out and protest. We were there for very tense and chaotic moments as federal agents were blocking the scene. But later on in the day and into the evening, the protests were mostly peaceful as this ICU nurse and local resident was remembered. Anger never end.
And again, this is just what I want people to show. You know, they're talking about how chaotic and how it's the public that it's their responsibility for creating and escalating the scene and not peacefully protesting. Well, this is afterwards, right? And look at the scene afterwards and how many people again, braving the -10-degree temperatures. Who knows what it was with the wind chill to get out there and show their respect not only for Alex but for Renee and to their disgust for what's happening in their communities.
Brief in Minneapolis this morning as hundreds gathered for a vigil in honor of Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old shot and killed after a confrontation with federal agents. Video shows.
And again, they're going to go on to show this, and I'll show even better, clearer footage here. So this is what was posted on X, and I'm sure it's been posted elsewhere. But this is what has been said is the clearest footage of the Minneapolis shooting released so far. It actually shows it once, and then there's kind of like a zoomed in footage. And let me see if I make it bigger, if it kind of distorts it a little bit. I don't think it does, but I'm going to take myself out of the way, and we're just going to go by this frame by frame so you guys can see exactly what took place in this moment, right? And again, I'll spare you the most egregious parts of this. I'm not going to make everybody watch the entirety of the thing, but we're just going to watch the moment where the gun is pulled out and how clearly you can see it. And the person that actually did the shooting is clearly in the fucking line of sight of the agent. You can see here. So hopefully you can see let me see if I can do this. Every now and again, you can see my mouse on the screen. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But if you look at the guy in gray with the red brim, right, and the sunglasses on his hat, bent over clearly in front of you over the guy with the beige backpack. All right. So that's the guy that's going to be grabbing the weapon. The guy in the green next to him that is kind of facing the other way at the moment, he's going to be the guy that's going to actually release, take out his firearm and actually shoot. But he has a clear line of sight of not only the guy in the red hat, the guy with the red brim in the gray, taking the weapon out of the guy's belt so he can see it's not in his hand, it's not in Alex's hand, it's clearly fucking holstered in his fucking holster. Right. So there's absolutely no excuse. There's no like, okay, I thought something else would. No, you had a clear line of sight of what was going on. You heard the fucking call of firearm. You saw where the firearm was, and you even saw him fucking pull the firearm out and leave the fucking scene before you shot. So check this out. Again, I'll leave the fucking scene and I'll let it play here. This is just slow motion, right? Slow motion. You can see here, right? So watch his right hand. You can see Alex's backside is just right here. Yeah, well, hold on. Let me see if I can. My apologies. Let me see. I'll turn down the sound because it's kind of an annoying sound. I'll just talk over it. All right, so let's go here. So you can watch his right arm. Watch his right arm. He's got it on his fucking right here. So he's fishing for it right here. He's got his gun in his hand. He's trying to get it unholstered. The reason it's so difficult for him to get that gun right now is because it's fucking holstered. That means it was never unholstered or brandished by Alex at any point. It was fucking holstered as he was legally permitted to carry it right there. Okay, so that's what we're seeing in this instance. I'll let it fucking continue. Here we go. So you can see him right at just at the moment where he's about to get it out. He's still trying. He's got to lift the latch, right, because it's secured in his fucking. So this is when you can tell that the first call of gun goes out. So this guy immediately reaches for his weapon. He's still fishing for it right here. So what the accurate fucking bit of communication should be is holstered weapon or, a weapon that is not in the guy's hand, whatever the line of communication is between officers to get them to know, okay, there is a weapon in play, but it's not, it's not actively in the guy's hand. He's not actively ready to discharge it. It is, safely holstered in his belt, but let's just, be aware. Let's be aware to keep his hands away. Whatever it needs to change in that circumstance isn't okay. Let me pull out my gun and start shooting. That's just not the protocol from fucking any reasonable fucking person that has served in law enforcement whatsoever. But let me play. I'll get out of the way. Let it continue to play here. So this is just at the moment, right? Continue to play. Continue. So he's got it out. You see that moment right there? He's got the gun out. Let's go back just a second. Just a second. You can see him. Ready. Guns out right there. Guns out right there. Okay, no shots have been fired. 0 shots have been fired. Gun is out of its holster. You can see it plain and clear just above where the mouse is at this point, right? Guns in the holster, guns out of the holster. Guns in the holster, guns out of the holster. No shots have been fired. Now, clearly what you can see here, I'll go back on the screen just real quick so I can point it out. Look at the guy in green with his gun already out. Already. Now continue to watch him as I pop out of the way again. Continue to watch the guy in green, right? So the guy in gray starts to run away from the scene. The guy in green immediately starts firing his weapon, immediately starts discharging his weapon. Guy's gone. But look where the line of sight is. Look where this guy's eyes are pointed. Look where the guy who takes out his gun, look where he's looking. He's looking directly down at the weapon. He's looking directly down at his associate there, removing the weapon. Clear. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. The guy in green. Look at his eyes where he's looking. Look at where he's looking directly at it, sees his buddy get the weapon, sees his buddy leave the fucking scene, actually takes his spot in the scrum, right? And then discharges his weapon, right? So this is the first discharge. It shoots him right in the back, right in the fucking back, right there. Boom. You can see a discharge. And again, we're not going to play the rest of it because it's unnecessary. You guys know what happened after that. Was another fucking 10 fucking shots that went into this guy's body, Alex Jeffrey Preddy's body, right? And again, you can see it one more time. Look at where the guy's looking. So there's absolutely zero excuse for him to be like, well, I didn't know where the weapon was. I didn't know if it was in his hand. Nope. You can maybe take off your fucking sunglasses and your mask and do your job properly is one way to start it. But here's the gun gone. Here's the gun in. Here's the gun out of the holster. Here's the gun in the holster. And look where the guy in the green is looking the whole entire fucking time. Right down at it. Right down. The gun's gone. No more fucking problem. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. Not to mention, and this is, again, something that pisses me off because this isn't even taking into account how this all started, right? The escalation that was coming from the ICE agents and how fucking Alex was just trying to de-escalate the situation and trying to get this woman out of harm's way. That was immediate. Like, you could hear him. We called it out yesterday. You could hear him in the beginning of some of these videos, him being, when he was in the middle of the road, say, hey, because the fucking ICE agents were already going after that woman. And then when they got to the side of the road, the ICE agent gave her a fucking two-handed shove as hard as he possibly could. And Alex went and did about the least obstructive thing he could possibly do, which is just kind of like stand in the way a little bit and put his right hand up. Right. And then he turned around and then he got pepper sprayed, and then he got dragged and then he got fucking shot to death by government agents. Sanctioned by the President of the United States and excused by every fucking department head, every agency head that is working for this administration. That's why it's a state-sanctioned execution, because they are excusing it. They are lying about it. They are propagandizing it. They are not punishing these people. They are not holding these people accountable. There is no fucking justice to be had in this situation. And it's fucking crazy because it couldn't be any more fucking clear exactly what the fuck happened. Nobody should be in fear for their life. You didn't communicate. You shouldn't have been in this position to begin with, because all the other footage shows that you started this. You escalated once again, as is shown in the other situation with Renee Nicole Good and every other situation that we've fucking shown on here. Right? I was going to show this later, but maybe we'll just show this now. This is probably a good one. I got a ton of stuff to pull up, so excuse me if it takes me a second to pull this one up. But yeah, this is one of them too. So this is another story that we were talking about that we pulled up months ago as well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not, this is just a clear-cut example of the lies told by ICE and DHS. Now take a look at this video, right? And then listen to what these statements were about the video before they knew they had video. Right? So check this out. This is just from MS Now, and check this out. This is video from a father and son that are being chased by DHS currently. So the father's driving, the kids film, and the kids, understandably upset. And the father's trying to say, okay, stay calm. I'll fast forward just for time's sake. But they end up getting rammed. Right? Well, watch. They just got rammed. They just got rammed again.
Agents appear to ram into the Bazan's car at least 4 times.
DHS doesn't.
So we got hit again, but listen to what DHS said about that exact fucking altercation, that exact action. Listen to what they said.
DHS doesn't just deny their allegations. They actually say that Arnolfo, the father, struck their agents with.
So not only do they deny striking him with their vehicle, but they actually said that it was he who struck the officers with his vehicle. I mean, this is not just like, okay, we're going to lie about what happened. We're going to totally flip the situation to make this guy look as bad as possible. The same thing they did to Renee Nicole Good when she was automatically a domestic terrorist that rolled up on fucking ICE agents with an AK-47 ready to cause harm. Same thing they're now trying to do with Alex Jeffrey Preddy by saying that he rolled up on ICE agents with a 9mm and he was wielding it. And obviously he went there to cause fucking a mass casualty event. That's literally what they're saying about an ICU nurse working at the VA that we just saw reading and presiding over the death of a veteran, where, you know, clearly nobody else was around to do it. So he stepped up and decided to pay his respects, the last respects to this person. You know what I mean? To this veteran who sacrificed everything. But that's what they're talking about. It's just a clear example of some of the lies that they're willing to tell. And it's probably a good segue as we go into, you know, the lies that they were telling. Because yesterday we talked about the DHS statement, right? That fucking ridiculous statement that, again, tried to make it look like this was a domestic terrorist out there trying to kill people, and that ICE had no other choice but to gun him down in broad daylight in the middle of a Minneapolis fucking street. And we're going to call that bullshit out because this is just absolutely asinine. You guys saw the video. We saw the video here. We went through it. We've gone through it in stages from multiple angles. We've gone through it fucking at full speed. We've gone through it at slow motion. We've seen the beginning. We've seen the after. We've seen the protest. We've seen the lies. And we're going to hear more right now. So check this shit out. So we're going to go through real quick. We're not going to fucking dive through all of these press conferences. Just some of the more egregious lies we're going to call out here. And then we'll go on to Bovino had a press conference about it. And then he sat down with Dana Bash, I believe, on State of the Union. Todd Blanche was on with NBC News and Kristen Welker. So all of them are out there trying to make the rounds to propagandize this, to demean and degrade the life of Alex Jeffrey Preddy, which again is right in line with what they tried to do with Renee Nicole Good, the same thing. So what do you say we dive into it and call it some bullshit? I apologize that we have to do this, but this is the moment that we're in, because this is now the government of the United States doing their best to propagandize, to sanction state murders, state executions in broad daylight. And again, how that differs from, you know, like the Einsatzgruppen that we were discussing in the beginning of the show. That was the precursor, right? That was the precursor to the Holocaust, right? So what's to say that right now what we're seeing isn't the precursor to something more egregious, right? What's to say that this isn't the specific reason why the Second Amendment exists for the American people against a tyrannical government that is out there brutalizing and murdering American citizens in the streets of our fucking cities? That is, to the best of my knowledge, the exact purpose of the Second Amendment. That is the exact reasoning behind the Second Amendment, and the best reason for you to know and utilize the Second Amendment to the best of your ability to keep you and your family safe. That's as far as I'll go, and I'll say that, and I'm sure it'll be fucking called apart and ripped apart and talked about as being extreme, but I don't give a fuck. That's the fucking text. That's how it was written. That's what we're seeing today, and I want everybody to be fucking damn well aware of the rights that you have to, again, not only defend you and your home, but your family and your fucking people. So, again, gonna leave it there, but let's call out some bullshit.
Equipped for the road ahead as we go through this next week. But before I take any questions and give more details on the storm and its impact, I do want to address the tragic situation that we saw in Minneapolis today that unfolded on the streets. It occurred with DHS law enforcement as they carried out their lawful duties to keep Americans safe in the threat of criminal illegal aliens in this country.
Ha! Bullshit. It's been reported that the person that they were actually trying to seek out, and I believe Dan Bovino actually references it in his interview, that the person that they were trying to seek out was wanted for some like petty fucking traffic violations or something. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. But even the person they're out there trying to find in what they were trying to call, you know, this fucking act that they were out there, wasn't even a thug, a criminal, one of these, like the worst of the worst, I'd be trying to say. To the best of my knowledge, from what I've seen reported, the guy had like minor traffic incidents or something like that, minor traffic violations.
At 9:05 a.m. Central Time, the Department of Homeland Security law enforcement officials and officers were conducting targeted operations in
No, they weren't. They were harassing people that were peacefully protesting. They were pushing people. They were shoving people. They were fucking pepper spraying people, and they were beating people in the face. Get it right, bitch.
Minneapolis against an illegal alien whose criminal history included domestic assault with intentionally inflicting bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license.
Oh, no, not driving without a fucking license. Oh, thank God you guys are out there getting the worst of the worst. The guy had no license? Oh, fucking hell. Thank Christ. That resulted in the death of a fucking U.S. citizen who was legally carrying a firearm and out there using his First Amendment to peacefully protest the bullshit that you're now spewing. You fucking dumb cunt. I can't stand this bitch.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic.
No, he did not. He absolutely fucking did not. She's trying to make it seem like he was brandishing, he was wielding this weapon as he approached, and that couldn't be fucking further from the truth. They had a fucking tough time them damn selves trying to get it out of the holster. The fuck is this bullshit? Who do they think they're fooling? Like, are they fooling fucking MAGA again? The don't tread on me, that we hate big government, we want small government, don't fucking trample on my rights crowd? Is that who's falling for this bullshit? Do they think because we ain't? Well, my eyes are still fucking working. I'm old, but I ain't that fucking old, right? I can still see with my own goddamn eyes a fucking clear-cut piece of footage that shows that this guy didn't do anything remotely close to what you're stating he did. The same way that Renee Nicole Good didn't do anything even remotely close to what you stated that she did, or any of these other people that have been beat and pushed and kicked and fucking punched in the face, and the pregnant women and the disabled women that have been dragged from their fucking vehicles didn't do shit either.
Handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed
No, they did
suspect
fucking not.
reacted
What they attempted to do was to push a woman down, which they succeeded in doing. And this gentleman, this fucking guy that actually represents what gentlemen should be, stepped in front of the fucking officer that was violently attacking the woman and tried to stop that. And then he was pepper sprayed repeatedly. And then he was dragged to the fucking ground. And then he was fucking jumped on by 10 people. And then they discovered his holstered, legally fucking permitted firearm. And then they shot him to death with fucking 10 or 11 shots. That's what fucking happened. Get it fucking right.
Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
Bullshit, because he had a fucking clear line of sight of his agent buddy who fucking had already previously removed the firearm from the holster, which it was already fucking safe in. And then the shots were fired. And then 10 more shots were fired. So again, we're supposed to be able to justify every single one of those shots, and you can't justify the fucking first one.
Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted
and the medics couldn't find the firearm, could they? They couldn't find it. They were like, where the fuck's the gun? Where's the gun? You said there was a gun. Where's the gun? Oh, it was already across the street? Oh, that's weird. Oh, we fucked up, huh? That's bad, because the weapon that we used to justify the shooting of this guy was already at the fucking Starbucks across the street that the guy stole it from and ran across the street from by the time we unloaded our clips in this guy.
deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
Yeah, because you murdered him. You and your fucking thugs, you Gestapo fucking Einsatzgruppen, Einsatzkommando, pieces of Nazi shit, murdered him in cold blood, and you're here to defend it, you're here to justify it, you're here to sanction it as a state representative. So if that is not a state-sanctioned execution, I don't know what the fuck is. Okay, and she's not the only one. Again, for the sake of time and for fucking the sake of our sanity and not having one of these people on the screen for too long, let's continue to dive into the rest of these fucking Nazi pieces of shit, fucking propagandize and lie to the American people and try to justify again a state-sanctioned murder, execution, assassination that we saw with our own eyes. So this is Dan Bavino. I'm not sure if this was, I think this was yesterday. And then the next one that we're going to see is him, I believe, this morning on with State of the Union. So a couple of them I'm going to dive into. Again, we don't have to dive into too much of it because, again, only so much Nazi can go on one screen for too long before, like, the screen starts distorting and shit. So, again, here we go. Let's try
it. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. I'm Gregory Bovino, and I have the privilege and honor of leading United States Border Patrol and Customs and Border Protection here.
In their mission to continue to murder and fucking harass and fucking, just assault American citizens. That's what he's dying to get done, this fucking Nazi 5'5" piece of weak shit.
In Minneapolis. Some of those brave men and women of Border Patrol and Department of Homeland Security law enforcement.
It's funny too. It's not funny. That's not the word I should use, but it's very ironic, right? It's very consistent. Let's just say that this guy who is clearly fucking hiding himself in a closet and trying to outperform and over masculine himself to make it seem like he's not gay, which he clearly is, which is okay because we're accepting in this big tent, but he's out there trying to oppress the same fucking community. And he's part of a group that oppresses the same community that he's clearly a fucking part of. But it's just funny that, again, not funny, but ironic that like people like Reinhard Heydrich, again, who are responsible directly responsible for the creation of the Einsatzgruppen. What else was he responsible for? He was part of the security service, which was the Sicherheitsdienst. He had the Reich Security Main Office, the Gestapo, the Kripo, the SD. He helped organize Kristallnacht, and he was part of he actually had the Wannsee Conference in January 1942. But there were rumors out there that he was gay as well. Not only that, but the leadership of the SA, who was brutally taken down in the Night of the Long Knives, they were also pretty prolific in their their gay activities, which again we're completely accepting of. But Nazis, the SS didn't like that, didn't take to that too kindly, right? And they used that against them in order to again murder, assassinate, make them change sides, go from the SA to the SS, that type of thing. So it kind of fits in line with kind of what history has taught us about these people, like the people actively trying to persecute them, like sometimes are only doing it to hide the fact that they're part of that community that they're trying to persecute. Just pointing that out.
Join me here today to show support for all federal law enforcement who have been under constant attack in Minneapolis for weeks now.
Yeah.
This morning was no different.
How many of those officers have died? How many of those officers have been shot in cold blood? Can you answer that question? Because I can answer that for the American side. I can answer that for the fucking resistance side. I can answer that for the peaceful protesters side. But you're going to continue to talk about how it's your officers that can't go out in plain clothes. And how about we continue to resist, right? We'll go into the resistance movements of World War II and how that fucking helped when we get into talking about like NATO and Greenland and Trump statements. And this kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about here and kind of how the resistance fought in World War II and some of the things that we could do now, right? I mean, we must use every fucking piece of avenue given to us, right? Whatever the means are right now. And we could look back in history and some of the shit that the people went through, the resistance fighters, and again, France, Poland, Greece, Italy, Russia, Ukraine, you name it. And these people were fucking out there risking it all, listening to radio communications, getting in touch with the SOE, the OSS, different organizations to try to help them defeat the Nazis. They were out there, committing acts of sabotage, you name it. And they were out there trying to do it. So why don't we use some of those tactics in 2026 to get back at ICE and DHS, right? We don't have to use the same exact. We can take it and kind of, morph it and utilize it to today's kind of society. And I don't know, maybe a couple fucking nails end up in some of the ICE agents' vehicles. I don't know, maybe somehow like a knife slips and falls and goes straight through all four tires on the ICE and the DHS vehicles so they can't move. You know what I mean? I don't know, somehow maybe a banana in the tailpipe of some of the DHS vehicles. Like that is a thing that happens. I even have a sound to prove it. Hold on, I think I have it here. Let me see. Let's see here. If I had it on cue, it would be even better, but I promise I have it. Banana tailpipe. It's got to be around. Why are they never here when I want to find them? God damn, it would have been good if I had that on cue. It would have been really good. Let's see here.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful out. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely.
Here it is.
Man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
So I'm just saying, maybe you just watched Beverly Hills Cop and you have this random idea of what would happen if a banana went in a tailpipe of a vehicle of somebody I disliked, or I don't know, something like if you, melted the law, something like that. I'm not instructing, and these aren't specific things that I'm saying, but these are just random ideas that movies have given me that we're just kind of in passing talking about, right? There are different techniques in they can't possibly drive a vehicle that has a really badly smashed windshield, right? What are they going to do? Ace Ventura the motherfucker? So they couldn't. So if they just accidentally park under a tree that has a bunch of coconuts in it and one of them just randomly falls down on the car because it's really windy and cold, then what are you going to do? There's not much you can do. But there are different techniques and things that we could utilize, right? That don't involve, firearms and that type of violence that everybody's, trying mainly to avoid, that we can get our point across. And again, these protests that are out there that are, sprouting up every single, all over the place in every single city, those are going to help too. And I'm just saying there's ways that we can utilize it. So let's continue to dive into it.
At 9:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien, Jose Huerta Chuma. You can see this illegal alien on the screen to my left and right.
A guy known for the drastic crime of driving without a fucking license, apparently.
That is Jose Huerta Chuma, whose criminal history includes domestic assault to intentionally inflict bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license.
And again, we know how fucking these like added charges love to be added on to make every one of these fucking things sound more egregious. So I'm not buying anything that this Nazi prick is saying as far as this guy's back. I don't even care if you show me a piece of paper that says it. I'm not buying it. Don't give a fuck. Okay. The fact that you even have to list the fact that he was driving without a license on there shows me that you have absolutely fucking nothing else that should prove or justify the fact that you were going after him in the first place. Sorry, not going to fucking buy it. You have given me no reason whatsoever to buy any of the bullshit that you've been selling. So fuck off, stick it up your ass. The fact that this guy had no fucking license, was driving out, I don't give a fuck. Don't give a shit. Don't care. Sorry, don't give a fuck. Not my problem. Stick it up your ass. If that's what the fucking millions and millions of dollars are going to go to these people are going to be rounded up for driving without a license, then you can fucking pound sand. Go find another job. We don't want you. Fucking demolish, abolish, whatever you want to call it. Get rid of this fucking force and everybody in it. Peace. See you later, you scumbags. All right, so this is basically just him reciting that same DHS bullshit. So let's hop into this one where I think, if I'm not mistaken, he gets pressed a little bit more than he was in that one. Obviously, at the press conference, he didn't have the opportunity to be pressed that much. But let's just dive into a couple minutes of this and see if any other bullshit lies are here that we can obviously call out.
Sir, you are still in Minneapolis, and I want to get to a lot of questions that we have that are unanswered. First and foremost is that Alex Preddy approached Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. I want to go back to one of the videos, and I know you can see it there, and I want to ask you about what you're seeing, because multiple angles of this incident.
Don't stop sounding so scared. I don't know why you sound so nervous, Dana. Go after this motherfucker. You know what you saw on the video. You know what fucking happened. Attack this piece of shit. Don't go out there and like puppy dog him. I know it's like, I don't know. You seem nervous to me. You sound like you don't want to press him. And you know, I understand it's a very like emotional situation, but can we fucking please get these guys in the corner and pound them into the fucking corner relentlessly until they have nowhere to fucking go, until they're literally a bloody fucking pulp sitting there bleeding with no other recourse but to admit that they fucked up and that these officers don't have the training or the experience, and they have the fucking implicit and explicit fucking instructions from the president of the United States to act just like this and to do things just like this, which is why Kristi Noem and Dan fucking this asshole here are all excusing it. Can we fucking pound him into the sand, please? And stop being so like tentative with this? I'm sick of it. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with it.
Show him holding up a cell phone.
Yep, and here we go. Good that they're playing this. Good that they're playing this. Cell phone in his hand, talking to the fucking guy, actively being pushed to the side, doesn't react. Good that they're playing this.
And recording it, not a gun. Did he at any point pull out his weapon?
Specific question. Specific fucking question. Did he at any point pull out his firearm? What do you think the answer is going to be? You think it's going to be a direct answer about that? Or you think it's going to be some bullshit obfuscation, lawyer talk, DHS bullshit?
Dana, good morning, and thanks for having me. The weapon, and we do know that the suspect did bring a weapon, a loaded 9mm high-capacity handgun.
Legally, as an American citizen, legally permitted to carry that.
To a riot. We do know that.
To a riot? Where the fuck was the riot? What the? Now it's a riot? Go fucking suck it. Reset. A riot.
As far as what happened in that intervening moment with the video that you just showed, that's going to come to light through the investigation. That's being
No. Fuck the investigation. You guys have already come out with your theory. You've already fucking labeled him a domestic terrorist that was there to cause bodily harm to the agents. There's no fucking investigation to be done, especially by your fucking corrupt asses. So unless it's the FBI, which we don't trust anyway, unless it's going to be local law enforcement, which again hasn't been shown to be fucking trustworthy because they haven't been there to protect the fucking citizens they're meant to serve and protect. I don't think there's any way to get a fucking accurate investigation into this with Donald Trump in the White House, with Kristi Noem at DHS, with fucking Kash Patel at the FBI, with Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi as Attorney General and fucking Deputy Attorney General. There's just no way it's going to fucking happen. But it sure as fuck ain't going to happen by this Nazi prick. I can tell you that fucking much.
And those facts and those questions will be answered soon enough.
Okay, but the
So did he or did he not ever discharge, pull out, brandish, show, use, fucking threaten to use his firearm at all? Can you answer the fucking question? Dana, can you make him answer the fucking question, please?
Security Secretary is not waiting for that investigation.
No, don't go on to the next. Did he or did he not ever once, a single fucking time, brandish his fucking weapon, pin him down? I don't care if you have to ask him 17 motherfucking times in a row. Don't let him skate.
To take place before saying that Alex Preddy was, quote, brandishing a weapon. Let's go to video 7 because, of course, you know this far better than I. The definition of brandishing.
No. Don't fucking assume he knows any definition better than you. He's clearly not shown any fucking instance in which he knows anything better than anyone. Okay, he has not instructed his fucking troops, his crew, his Einsatzgruppen to act in accordance with the law. So he doesn't clearly know the law. He doesn't clearly know the rules, regulations, and procedures to law enforcement because he's clearly not fucking recalling them correctly, right? Either that he's too ignorant and he's just being fucking willfully obtuse and he doesn't give a fuck. Either way, let's not give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he knows fucking anything until you make him prove it on your television show. Right the fuck now. No benefit of the doubt ever.
Or flourishing something, especially a weapon, as a threat or an anger and excitement. That's just a still photo of what Alex Preddy appears to be.
Yeah. Ask the fucking question.
Brandishing a weapon. Have you, sir, seen something different to support what the secretary said?
What do you mean different? What do you mean? Did he see a different situation? Was there a different camera that somehow picked it up differently than all of these other fucking cameras and angles that we're seeing? What are you talking about, Dana? Jesus fucking Christ. What do you mean? He couldn't possibly have seen anything. We've seen it from fucking every angle possible. We've seen it fucking slow motion. We've seen it fucking real time. We've seen it from fucking across the street. We've seen it from the fucking car. We've seen what happened before. We've seen what happened after. What the fuck are you talking about? Dumb fucking bitches. I'm sorry, but I can't stand it.
Dan, I think what we need to take a look at here is the situation in its totality. What happened leading up?
Yeah, what did happen? What did happen with this guy legally carrying a firearm, legally and fucking within his rights, peacefully protesting to help save a woman that was being brutalized and assaulted by your fucking thugs? Let's go ahead. Let's relive the moment again. See how you can fucking pull up a new reality, I guess.
Situation. The suspect decided to inject himself into...
No. Your fucking officers decided to attack a fucking U.S. citizen, and what he did was do the fucking least, obstructive thing he could do and just put himself in the way of that person that was being assaulted. And then he was pepper sprayed for doing so, and then he was beaten for doing so, and then he was shot to death more than 10 times for doing so.
Well, law enforcement action. What's not being said here is the fact that Border Patrol agents and law enforcement were conducting a targeted law enforcement effort against a violent, illegal alien.
Oh, now he's violent. He was what? Violently driving without a license now, was he? What was he doing? He was yelling and screaming violently in the car while he was driving without a license, you fucking prick.
That was nearby, and that suspect injected himself into that law enforcement situation.
The attempt to rewrite history that quite literally took place yesterday in 4K from multiple different angles, and fucking shout out to everybody that has been listening. And I'm not taking credit for this, but at least that we've been saying this for about a year now on Blunt Politics to fucking film and follow ICE wherever they go. And the only reason that we can accurately call out these fucking Gestapo Nazi propaganda pieces of shit right now is because everybody was out there with a fucking cell phone, including Alex Jeffrey Preddy, right? That's why that we can fucking call this out. That's why we have all the angles. So thank you to everybody that is now out there, that has been out there and will be out there with the fucking phone, filming every angle in detail of these fucking thugs going out there and brutalizing and fucking assaulting and murdering U.S. citizens on the streets of our fucking cities. So thank you for at least hearing whoever said it, right? Or at least taking it upon yourself to do these things. So hashtag film and fucking follow everywhere you possibly can. That's why we have this ability to call them out. That's why we're going to have this historical fucking reference to point back to at every single fucking turn, and the lies from these people to put fucking side by side with what you saw and I saw with our own fucking eyes.
A weapon.
And sorry about the extra profanity today, but I'm fucking livid. I'm fucking pissed off that this is now being state-sanctioned executions, okay? And there's nothing else that you could put on it. There's no other spin. There's no other term. These are state and federal fucking people out here in the Trump administration sanctioning, excusing, justifying, and calling for more of this shit to happen. There's no other fucking term you could put on it. This is a state-sanctioned execution. We're now witnessing the fucking cover-up.
And what happened between when that situation first came about?
Oh, fuck you. I can't even fucking stand to hear his voice anymore. And I'm not going to be able to stand to hear this fucking guy's voice anymore either. But let's go on to these fucking lies too, so I can punch this guy with his fucking truth. All right. This dickhead Todd Blanche, the deputy attorney general, with the same fucking bullshit, just not as good at it. He's like who's the other fucking schmuck that can't talk on TV? They love him. Besant there, that fucking loser. He's about a step above Scott Besant in being able to speak on camera, this fucking cuntbag. All right, yeah, Todd Blanche, more lies. I think he's on to Kristen Welker. Let's call him out before I get pissed off and throw this fucking computer out the door.
When local law enforcement refuses to help. And that is what is so tragic about what happened.
Hold on, let me see. I might have to put it from the beginning. I forget now. I forget where I wanted to pick it up. Let's just go from the beginning. I'm all flustered.
And joining me now is Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Mr. Blanche, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. I do want to start by watching one of those videos of the shooting. And again, I do want to warn our viewers, this is disturbing. Take a look.
And again, I understand we don't need to. I'm going to fly by this just to kind of save everybody the time of seeing it again, and we'll go into the questioning. Hope that's okay with everybody.
Spent all day Saturday arguing that Alex Preddy posed a threat to law enforcement. What exactly do you see in that video that posed a threat to law enforcement?
Again, specific question, right, guys? Specific question. What do you see? Not what you have to see in the investigation, not as what has already been said by fucking different officials. What do you yourself see as an intelligent or supposedly intelligent human being, or at least somebody acting as an intelligent human being right now? What do you see with your own mind when you take a look at that? Specific question.
Well, I'll tell you what I don't see.
That's not the question. That's the opposite. That is quite clearly the opposite of what you would just fucking ask. You asked what you did see, not what you don't see. So right off the fucking jump, we're not getting what we should be getting. Answer the fucking questions. Kristen, make him answer the questions. We don't care what he didn't see. We want to know what he did see in that.
I don't see protesting happening. And this narrative.
You don't? Okay. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm just, let's see here. Protest, just real quick. We probably don't even have to do that. I could probably just look back in the footage that we have, right? Probably just look back in the footage that we have. Yeah, let's just do this. Let's just do that. Let's just throw this on the screen. This should be enough. You see those people in the background there, Todd? You see all those people in the background? No, don't. I'm not asking you in this instance to pay attention to the guy that the ICE officers brutally murdered in the streets. I'm talking about the people in the background with the signs. That's protests. That is people protesting. Well, I don't know what the fuck. Again, with this, what is this? You're really trying to get this across as like it was a riot? Yeah, look at the people, all fucking 17 of them in the background, just again, peacefully protesting at the time when this happened, the exact moment when it happened. So again, even Todd Blanche not answering the question, propagandizing, can't even do that correctly. Fucking loser.
That what was happening on that yesterday morning was
And
protesting.
again, that was just a small fraction of what was taking place yesterday. Of course, there was ample videos and ample pictures you could pull up of actual mass protest and people on the corners and using their First Amendment right. So to say that there was no protest going on is about as asinine a fucking statement as you could possibly make in this fucking instance. So just, again, I know that was a piss poor representation, and I do apologize, but it was just the quickest representation that I could find on the screen to show you that there, yes, of course, there was people out there protesting with the signs in the cold. Yes, that's what it's called, a protest. You cocksucker.
Being interrupted by ICE is not what we see. I also do not see a single state and local law enforcement officer there to help. And that's
fuck you. Fuck you. How about that? How about we use the state and local fucking law enforcement to lock your fucking ass up along with you and your fucking corrupt buddies? How about that? That's what we should be seeing at this moment in time. They shouldn't be out there protecting your fucking asses. That's what they, and Scott Besson out there crying fucking wolf because he didn't get a security detail by Tim Waltz. He can fucking pound sand too. Stick it right up your ass, buddy. You don't have enough security coming from the White House and shit that you think like, oh, it's don't worry about the American citizens being murdered. Let's be mad that I didn't get a security detail. You fucking moron.
That should be the narrative that we're talking about, is that what we
have. Not the dead Americans. Let's get it straight. The Deputy Attorney General of the United States of America doesn't want you talking about the dead, innocent, lawfully gun-carrying American that was shot in broad daylight. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about how federal, state and local law enforcement out there beating citizens with ICE. That's what he wants to talk about.
Is ICE doing isolated operations to get criminals off the street with zero cooperation from the governor, from leadership in Congress?
Yeah, he was complaining. Besant was complaining that when he went to Minnesota, that Walsh denied him a security detail or some bullshit. But again, we're talking about dead Americans. So for him to bring that up, and like, it couldn't be any more of a selfish fucking thing to bring up. Like, oh, don't be mad about the dead guy. Let's be mad I didn't get a security detail. That's what I was referencing. In case that was a question.
Or from the mayor. And so when you see what we just observed, was that peaceful protesting?
Yes, absolutely. 100,000%. Yes, that was a peaceful protest. It was all peaceful until, again, the DHS or ICE officers or whatever the fuck they are escalated the situation, as they continuously do in every instance, every fucking example that we could look at. They themselves instigated by the pushing, by the shoving of the woman first off, then the pepper spraying of both the woman and Alex in this situation, and then by the fucking mass attack of him on the ground, and then by the murder in cold blood of Alex Jeffrey fucking Preddy. Sorry, excuse me.
Of course not. That was a very violent occurrence, because ICE cannot.
What is the violent occurrence? Where was the only violence that I saw was, again, the violence being perpetrated on the protesters. The full two-handed shove that's a penalty in any fucking hockey game. We call that cross-checking, right? You can't even do that in organized sports. Never mind on the streets to a fucking protester utilizing their First Amendment right out there against what this regime is now fucking perpetrating against this country.
Do their job effectively when local law enforcement refuses to help. And that is what is so tragic about what happened yesterday and what's been happening in Minneapolis for the past several weeks, is that ICE is doing all of this work, doing their jobs, and local law enforcement are not being allowed to do a single thing to help. And that is dangerous, as we saw yesterday morning.
Mr. Blanche, respectfully, there are only 600 police officers in Minneapolis. There are 3,000 ICE agents. Local officials there say it strains credulity to think that they can back up every ICE official. But I want to stick to the video and what happened yesterday, the specifics of it. What exactly threatened those law enforcement officials? Did at any point Mr. Preddy brandish a gun?
I can see the same video that everybody else can see, and it's been analyzed up and down for the past 20.
Okay, so did you see him ever brandish the gun? That's the fucking very direct and specific question that nobody seems to want to answer out of your group. It's funny how you don't want to answer that one. But did you see him ever in the fucking, the buku fucking recordings that you went through and sat through and investigated? Any of those? Did you see him, threaten any officer at any point?
24 hours, but there's obviously an investigation that's ongoing.
But now again, he's already been determined that he was out there with a 9mm handgun looking to do harm to fucking officers. But somehow, when it comes to the question, did you ever see him threaten anybody? Even say he was going to harm somebody, show the gun to anybody, brandish it in any way? Then it's got to be the investigation has to take place. We can't really comment on that. It's funny how that works with these people.
Noam talked about that yesterday, which is what we would expect anytime a tragedy like this occurs. But I disagree with you when you say, what was there that looked as if there was a confrontation that was we don't know what happened in the minutes leading up to that.
Yes, we fucking damn well do. Yes, we fucking damn well do know what happened in the minutes leading up to it, because people were recording, because it's on fucking recording, you son of a bitch. We did see that. We just clearly saw a fucking, him with his cell phone up, being talked to by just clearly sitting there face to face, not causing any fucking harm, not threatening anybody, not with a gun in his hand, but with a cell phone in his hand. And then you can clearly see him trying to direct traffic in the road, letting the cars pass. And then what he sees is the ICE officer attacking the woman. He then tries to approach. He then goes back to the sidewalk. And then the ICE officer again attacks the woman with, again, a two-handed shove across a fucking ice block, right? And then he steps in, Alex steps in and tries to fucking just de-escalate the situation like you're fucking trained to do in that. And then what happened? He lost his life and he fucking got shot because of it. And now the question is, did you ever once, and it's been asked to fucking Kristi Noem, it's been asked to fucking Bovino, it's been asked to Todd Blanche, it's been asked to fucking Donald Trump, I bet, and not a single one of them has an answer to that question.
To what we just watched, we don't know what ICE saw, what ICE heard.
We do know what ICE saw. I can tell you right now what ICE saw, to tell you the truth, in slow motion, in 4K if you want it. Here, I'll even make it a little smaller. That way it's fucking, it's just as crisp. Okay, let me get it middled in the screen here. And here we go. This is exactly what the ICE officer saw. I can tell you right now. Yeah, we'll go to the slow-mo. Here you go. Watch the guy. Watch the guy. Guns out. Ready? Guns out. Right there. Guns out. Guy's eyes are right on it. Guns out. Guy's eyes are right on it. So, yes, we do know what they saw. They just didn't communicate correctly, and they didn't act in accordance with what the fucking situation called for. Not to mention that they escalated the situation into what it is that you're seeing on your screen anyway, okay? It should have never gotten to that fucking point. It doesn't matter what he had in his belt, because that was never even fucking known at the time they started beating him, pepper spraying him, and fucking punching him in the face. That wasn't even a fucking thing until they started yelling gun. They all got scared because they're all fucking pussies, right? They all love their guns on the range. They all love their guns when they're with their buddies. But God fucking forbid they ever been put in contact or put in front of somebody that actually wants to cause them harm, and then they just freak the fuck out. God forbid they are put in a situation where they actually have to test their fucking valor, actually have to test their skills in a fucking split-second moment to be able to justify or say, is this a threat or is this not a threat? Typically, if a gun is holstered and you have 20 fucking guys on a person, clearly holding down his arms, pinning him on the ground, that isn't the threat that says, I'm going to shoot this guy dead because my officers are in danger. That's just not how it works. So, yes, we do have fucking clear-cut evidence. So don't fucking bullshit me. I mean, I might only have fucking 15,000 subscribers, but you ain't getting one by on me, you fucking prick.
That's part of the investigation that's going to be happening.
What investigation? You guys have already come out with your statements. You've already labeled him a terrorist. You've already labeled him somebody out there that was trying to kill law enforcement. What is the investigation that needs to take place? What are you guys hoping to determine? That everything you've said so far is bullshit? Is that what you're going to say? Oh, sorry, I know everything we've said so far and all of the videos that we've lied about, that's all horse shit, but let us retract our fucking statement and story now.
Did not see, again, and we cannot avoid this conversation. What we did not see is a single cop.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. Make me sit here and fucking defend cops. Don't fucking make me do it. No, I'm not going to do it.
Helping with that isolated, targeted effort by ICE to arrest a criminal. And you're right, there are three. Go ahead, sorry.
Did you see him at any point brandish a gun? Have you been told by law enforcement?
Okay, third time he's now been asked this question. Now the fourth or fifth time we've heard that question been asked to different representatives, different officials in the Trump administration. Not a single fucking time have they ever once said that he brandished this firearm.
Enforcement there on the ground, that at any point he brandished a gun, that he threatened them with a gun. The video shows he's holding up a cell phone.
No, you can't see what everything is happening. I mean, what you do see is you see several ICE officers surrounded.
Okay, so if we didn't see it, you seemingly, what you're trying to say is you have access to different footage, or you have access to different angles, or you at least have access to the agents that were there on the scene throughout the fucking time period. Did they ever see, was there any statement made by any officer on the fucking ground then that said, yes, he did pull out his weapon, he brandished his weapon, he threatened to use his weapon, anything? Because you do have access to that. If you're trying to say that we didn't get to see all of the fucking stuff that you saw, can you at least enlighten us on the stuff that you saw that we didn't, that would point you in the direction to say that he did actually brandish that firearm or ever once discharge it or fucking threaten to discharge it, whatever, anything, nothing.
Him, you see a violent interaction with
perpetrated by ICE. The violence was perpetrated by ICE. There was no violence whatsoever on the side of Alex Jeffrey. Not once did he ever engage in any violence. Did he threaten any violence? Did he perpetrate any violence? Did he tell somebody else to commit some violence? Not a fucking suggestion in there. So why you're bringing that up is only making your ICE officers, your fucking people, look worse because they instigated. They started it, instigated it, followed it up, and killed him. That's it.
With the man who was shot. And so we don't know. The video, no matter how many times you look at it, no matter how many different angles that we see, there's a lot that we don't see. And that's...
Don't believe your lying eyes. That's what the government is now telling you. That's what the government is now telling you. That is the statement. That is the memo that was put around to say, don't believe your lying eyes. You might have thought you saw what you saw on all 47 different fucking angles and clips and different news sources that had this and cell phone clips and all of it together. But don't believe your lying eyes, folks. You didn't see the murder. You didn't see a state-sanctioned execution in broad daylight in the middle of a peaceful protest on the streets of the United States in 2026. You didn't see that. What you saw was, I don't know. We'll tell you when the investigation comes out. Apparently that's what they want you to believe.
Exactly why you have to have an investigation, which is exactly what DHS is doing and exactly what we would hope that they would do. But you can't tell exactly what happened. It was
you can very well, very damn fucking well tell exactly what happened, what went down, the mistakes that were made, who should be fucking charged and who should be put behind bars and who should still be alive. You can absolutely tell. There's no way in hell that any fucking intelligent human being could watch those clips from all those angles and come out of that thinking anything else. It's not possible.
Very instant violence. These law enforcement, ICE has a very tough job. It is
fuck you and them pussies. How about that? All of them. Stick it up your ass, you Nazi pricks, you uneducated fucking white nationalist, Christian nationalist, fucking racist, bigoted, fucking dumbass pieces of fucking garbage. How about that? Every single one of you is an untrained, uneducated, fucking overweight hack that couldn't make it from your fucking front door to your mailbox without passing out or craving a cheeseburger. You fucking losers.
Very hard when they're walking, trying to do their job, and there are agitators and rioters everywhere.
There are, and they're on the right side, and they're on the fucking side of ICE, and they're being fucking, they're being coddled, and they're being defended by these ICE agents, because there are absolutely agitators out there, but they're fucking Republicans, you dickbag.
These men and women are not protesting. They are not peaceful.
They are very much protesting, you dumb son of a bitch. That's exactly what the fuck they're doing. Through the rights given to them as American citizens. That's exactly what they're doing. And they're being murdered. They're being gunned down. They're being shot in the face. They're being blinded. They're being punched. They're being fucking brutalized. They're being pulled from fucking cars all over the place. That's what's really taking place on the ground.
Fully protesting. They are trying to impede and obstruct ICE, and it makes the job that our men and women have to do.
And they fucking damn well better continue to do so. That is my instructions here on the Blunt Politics podcast. You impede, fucking obstruct, get in the way, any means necessary at this fucking point. It's all out the window. Fuck them. Fuck them. How about that? How about that? I have a bunch of jacks and needles and pins and stuff like that. They look great in the tires of every single fucking ICE car. Every single one of them should have fucking bejeweled tires on them.
virtually impossible to do without interactions like that. And yes, yesterday's shooting was a tragedy. And
Oh,
yes,
was it? That's funny that it took you, what, 15 minutes into the segment to say anything about how tragic it was?
we feel a ton of sympathy for the family and friends of
I
the
bet.
deceased.
I bet. That's why you're saying that he's out there trying to fucking harm, ICE agents and law enforcement agents, and he went out there with the specific intent to fucking harm people, which is, I believe, what Bovino said in this, if I'm not mistaken. I think he said it in this one. Let me see.
During this operation, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
Oh, sounds bad, doesn't it? How about you tell everybody that it was in his fucking holster under a shirt in his belt, you fucking pussy. How about that? You're failing to mention that part for some reason, but they want you to believe that he had it out and it was brandished and he was threatening these officers, which is why he's telling the story the way he's telling it, not the way it should be told or how it actually happened.
The agents attempted to disarm the individual.
No, they fucking damn well did not. They beat him, they pepper sprayed him, they punched him in the fucking face, and then they realized he was legally carrying a firearm, and they freaked the fuck out because they're all pussies. How about that?
He violently resisted.
He didn't violently resist shit. Didn't violently resist a fucking thing.
Fearing for
besides the oppression that we're now seeing from this administration.
Life and the lives and safety of fellow officers. A Border Patrol agent fired defensive shots.
Fucking hell he did. The fucking hell he did. Defensive of what? Defending of himself of the backside of Alex? What was he fucking defensive of? The gun that he just quite literally watched his buddy pull from the holster and walk away from the scene with? Is it typical to shoot a guy in the back? I'm sorry. Is that just... I watch a lot of Westerns, and even back then, that was fucking frowned upon. But I guess today in 2026, by law enforcement and by fucking ICE officials and DHS bastards, and that's just something that's just, we're just going to defend it to the fucking, till we get to the high heaven, even though they're all going straight to fucking hell.
Medics on the scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject.
And couldn't find the fucking weapon. And were immediately shocked that he didn't have a firearm on him. Let me see if I can find that real quick, because I think that's about the only one of these clips that I haven't really played. Let me see here. Give me a second. Yeah, here we go. I don't know if this is the full one, but this should give you an idea here. This content isn't available right now. Why would that not be available right now? My apologies. Maybe this one? Can you see it on your screen? All right, here. I'll turn it up. Let me know what you hear. Ready? I'll play it from the beginning.
What's going on?
You can hear him just in that moment right there. I know it's probably a little difficult for you guys to hear, but you can hear him as he's trying to render first aid, which is just strange to me. Let's render first aid to somebody we just fucking mag dumped in. I'll never understand that for the fucking life of me. But as he's doing that, he's fucking looking around for the weapon that everybody was calling. Where's the gun? Where's the gun? Where's the gun? You can hear him call it. And I apologize that we have to show this part of it, but this is important for people to hear. It's an important moment. And again, my apologies. Viewer discretion is advised. If anybody's squeamish or anybody doesn't like seeing this part, turn away. I'm just going to show this part one more time, and I want you to listen clearly, where you can clearly hear him say, "Where's the gun? Where's the gun?" And then I'll get it off the screen. I promise. Right? So he points across the street. He says, "Where's the gun? Where's the gun?" And then he points across the street where the gun is, where he saw the guy actually remove it from the holster and sprint across the street. Right? So again, my apologies that I have to show that to you, but again, it's a very poignant part of this entire thing, in which, we have to continuously point out, like, they still, to that moment, when they were trying to, quote unquote, render first aid to the guy, they clearly just fucking shot into enough to kill anybody, right? That's when they still had no idea what was going on with the gun. So talk about, not trained. Talk about not understanding the situation. Talk about not being on the same page. That shows it right there. That shows that right fucking there. And let me put this back on the screen for you guys. Which one were we just doing? Bovino? Oh, my apologies. That was the wrong one. Let me throw this back on. I got to find the right one. I get about 20 Bovino clips pulled up. I think it's this one. Yeah, it is. All right, here we go. My apologies. Back at it.
But the subject was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID.
Well, I'm sorry. What does the ID part have to do with fucking anything? Not to mention, like, a guy legally carrying a firearm. What's he supposed to do? He's supposed to have fucking carrots in his pocket? What do you want him to do? He had to a couple extra clips of pears? Of course he's going to have fucking clips. Of course he's going to have fucking extra clips, you dumb son of a bitch. What do you want him to have? A fucking monkey's tit? I don't know. Of course he's going to have fucking clips. He's legally carrying a fucking firearm. There's nothing illegal about having the ammunition to go along with that legal firearm, is there? And again, I don't know what this ID bullshit is. Like, all of a sudden now we're in this fucking show me your papers state where, oh well, Jesus, can you imagine this guy left his house without his passport, without his fucking registration, like fucking papiles, you know what I mean? Like, okay, tell me we're not back in Nazi Germany again somehow, please.
This looks like a situation.
Listen to this bullshit.
Where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement.
Are you out of your fucking tits? Are you out of your fucking tree? Did you just hear what this bastard just said? Listen to this shit one more time.
ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement.
Again, an ICU nurse at the VA who in his last moments was trying to defend a woman who was getting beaten and pepper sprayed by ICE, who was then brutally brought to the ground by 10 or 12 different fucking agents and then shot in cold blood, is now being fucking labeled as, again, a domestic terrorist who was out there looking to cause mass harm to law enforcement. Somebody out there peacefully protesting. Again, no different than what they tried to get you to believe about Renee Nicole Good and how she was a domestic terrorist who just rocked up on these agents who were digging out of a fucking snow tunnel or whatever the fuck, and then she brandished an AK-47 and law enforcement had no fucking choice but to react. Like, that's what they want you to believe. Oh, thank you so much. Who is that? Oh, thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. The U.S. federal government is no longer entitled to the presumption that they wish to maintain law and order in this country. Pamela Joe just sent a letter to the government, to Governor Walz, in effect trading the Minnesota voter rolls for the return of Eleanor impeached that miserable woman. Now, yeah, I did see that. I did hear that. There's a clear cut, quid pro quo, like, you give me this and we'll take these people out. You know what I mean? Which just goes to show the levels of corruption. So, Angela, I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much for the contribution and putting that little tidbit of news in there. We very much appreciate you. But it's just unbelievable to me that they expect you to see the video and what you saw and then get to believe this. Like, he was out there to cause, listen to what he says, like it's a foregone, and they're trying to say, okay, we have to wait till the investigation. These are the wait till the investigation is done people. Does it sound like they waited for the investigation?
This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement.
And massacre law enforcement. I mean, if that isn't a fucking libel suit, if that is not somehow a suable offense from the family, I don't know what is, right? Because that is the most egregious bunch of bullshit, the most fucking clear and blatant piece of propaganda that you could possibly try, attempt to hear at this point. It's fucking asinine. Absolutely fucking asinine. And again, this is just a clear-cut example of the state, of the government, of the regime sanctioning, okaying, justifying the clear-cut murder of a U.S. citizen in broad daylight. Period. End of story. Point blank. Nothing else to discuss. And it's fucking sickening, right? Hit that like button, guys. I know I'm frustrated today. I'm pissed off. I think a lot of us are. I apologize about probably the extra and added profanity that's been laced throughout this episode, but I think it's accurate, and I think it's very just in this moment to feel the way that I'm feeling. This justifiable rage, right? This fucking burning inside that something needs to be done, and now is the time. And like, that line in the sand has absolutely been fucking crossed time and time again. And if we don't do something now, again, we talked about how what went down in World War II, but there was precursors to that. There were signs that weren't as bad. Okay, it may not be as bad as we think it is. And then it was another small step, and then it was another small step, and then they took over the fucking media, and then they took over the fucking construction companies, and then they started infiltrating your personal workspace, and then they started infiltrating the family. Like it was very, calculated and step by step. It wasn't all at once, right? And I think we're kind of in a moment now where we need to recognize, like, we can't let them get over the line. Like, if they go over the line with this, then we fucking may never get it back. And again, I'm not calling for outright revolution. What I am calling for is an absolute and definitive general fucking strike, though. I am absolutely thinking that it is time for this country to shut the fucking lights off, to shut the shit down, to stop the fucking wheels turning, to stop the money machine, to stop the stock market dead in its fucking tracks, and to show the world and to send the world a fucking message. An accurate message that this is one person, one regime, one fucking government's choices and wishes, and it has nothing to do with the American people. Whether you're an ally, whether you're a fucking brown or black person in this country, do not think for a moment that the fucking last breath that the fucking Donald Trump takes on this fucking earth is going to make it so that like any of us are going to continue the legacy or continue what the fuck he had to think or do when it's all said and done. It's just not going to happen. I know it's not going to be an overnight fix. We're not going to be able to fucking bring it back right away, but I want you to understand the people of the world, the people of the fucking of this country that have been demonized and fucking I don't know, just punished for no reason, that we will have your back. We do have your fucking back, and that this one fucking regime does not represent us as a country, and nor will it ever. Right? So again, just a little message to get out there, a little bit of a duty that we have to show the world in whatever way we can that we don't stand for this and that we do resist everything that's now taking place at all fucking costs. And again, another discussion to be had is like with the techniques that could be used and utilized in that situation. Some of them you may not like, some of them may be very effective, and some of them may not be effective at all. But again, I don't know. We have to absolutely come to an agreement with people on how far we're willing to let them push and stomp on us before we actually take matters into our own hands and fucking fight back. That's just period, point blank in my eyes. And again, having to do with fighting back, let's get into, I know we're running out of time pretty quickly here, but I do want to bring this up one more time and kind of how much this just pisses me the fuck off along with everything that's taking place in this country. Like for Donald Trump to go out there and have, 5 or 7 or however many deferments he had to get out of serving his country, to get out of, defending and upholding democracy and defending the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, for him to go out and fucking demonize people like John McCain and demonize all veterans and calling them suckers and losers, and then to take credit for fucking something he absolutely didn't do and rebuilding the entire military, and then to come out here and to be like, clearly somebody that doesn't understand history more than he understands the makeup that he puts on his fucking ugly looking face that he's got. But to say that our allies did absolutely nothing and have had no help, have given us no assistance in battles and wouldn't be there if we needed them and stayed away from the front lines is so fucking utterly infuriating. Like, anybody that thinks that we got away with and succeeded in D-Day without the help of any other fucking allies, without the help of any other nations, without the help of the French resistance, without the help of the Polish fucking resistance, like, you're out of your fucking mind, and I got a damn fucking lot of bridges to sell you. I do. Because that's just it's not how it happened. It's not how history took place. Fuck, we didn't even fucking, Germany declared war on us. We didn't declare war on Germany. They declared war on us in 41, right? We were more fucking, again, we were kind of focused on the whole Japan theater, really, until we started getting attacked on our own home soil. And then Germany declared war on us. And the war had already been going on for 2 years plus at that point. So for Caroline Leavitt, and we'll play the clip, and it kind of reminded me of this. First, we'll play Donald Trump's kind of statements here. I just want to play it so we can kind of fill everybody in on what I'm pissed off about, just in case you haven't heard. But what's it say? Dang, no free membership from WA, LOL, have, what's it say? I love you, Brian. What's it mean, no free membership? I'm confused. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I should never look at random gifts. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. Who is that? Who is that? Hold on. How long ago was that? Hopefully it wasn't too far away. Oh, thank you, dude. Peter, thank you so much, man. Unbelievable. That is an incredible, incredible contribution. I appreciate you guys. And again, everybody that's contributing, please stick around to the end of the show, and I'll be more than happy. And as we do at the end of every podcast, we go through and thank everybody that sent in a Venmo, which is just up in the corner, or, gifting memberships like Peter just did, or whether or not you're gifting a super chat like the other fabulous people have done today. So to be sure, stick around to the end of the show, and we'll go through every single contribution. Make sure you get your sign of appreciation. Make sure you get your thanks, because you very much deserve it. So, Peter, thank you very much. And everybody else who has been contributing to the show today, thank you. Thank you very much for keeping the show running. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's dive into this. Again, this is Donald Trump demeaning and just fucking literally shitting on all of our allies, the dead and wounded that they've sacrificed in helping the United States. Again, the only time that Article 5 has been invoked by NATO is when the United States invoked it after 9/11, in which we saw our allies come to our aid. Right, there is ample footage here. Here's one piece that we could put on here. Right, here's British troops. Here's British troops in Afghanistan. Right, so there's multiple videos. There's multiple instances. It's ridiculous that we even have to bring this up. But if you actually want to go and be able to prove Donald Trump wrong on all of the things that he's been saying, it doesn't take you very long to bring it up. So again, let me put this on the stage, and we'll just listen to the fucking dumbass words that he had to say, and then we'll call it out. How about that?
We get along very well with NATO, I think, but I've always said, will they be there if we ever needed them? And that's really the ultimate test. And I'm not sure of that. I know that we would have been there, or we would be there, but will they be there? And let's hope that that never happens. We've never needed them. We have never really asked anything up.
No, I don't know. Again, does D-Day, World War II, the Revolutionary War, Iraq and Afghanistan, do those ring a bell? No, none of those things ring a bell. Okay.
Them, they'll say they sent some troops to Afghanistan or this or that.
They did. They're not going to just say that. They absolutely did, and they lost troops in Afghanistan.
And they did. They stayed a little off the front.
No, they lost people on the front lines. They absolutely fucking lost people on the front lines, and it's fucking incredibly disrespectful and ignorant to even say anything like he's saying right now.
Lines, but we've been very good to Europe and to many other countries. It has to
and
be
again, just his statements here, and I know we talked about the other day how James O'Brien on LBC was kind of depicting the anger from across the pond at some of these statements, but this kind of reminded me of this instance as well, right? Like, so when Caroline Leavitt, remember this was 10, 11 months ago or something like that, when she was given this, pretty much what Donald Trump said at Davos the other day. Remember Donald Trump said at Davos that Switzerland would be speaking German if it wasn't for the United States? Well, remember when France was asking for the Statue of Liberty back? Let me see if I can put this on the screen. Yeah. Remember this moment here where he was asking for the Statue of Liberty back? I think it was somebody in the French Parliament, if I'm not mistaken, kind of made a reference that, the United States obviously doesn't stand for the values that are inscribed on the Statue of Liberty. So they'd be best to kind of give it back. And then Caroline Leavitt went on to say something like this.
So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful to our great country.
What a fucking just ignorant ass, dumb blonde statement. Like, just fucking, how dumb could you possibly be to be like, yes, they didn't go through any turmoil. They did absolutely no fighting before the United States even had a thought to enter the war, right? They didn't help us with their resistance. We didn't actually support them with the OSS, which was the precursor to the CIA, the OSS and the SOE, which was the British special services there that they trained to go over and kind of cause a ruckus behind enemy lines. But again, to think that there was no involvement in that the French would be speaking, it's just fucking ridiculous. And that's even with the kind of overstated reputation that the French have of at the time being what was looked at as the biggest and best military on the planet, and obviously what we know and kind of happened in that moment in time. But to not talk about the British Expeditionary Force, to not talk about Dunkirk, right? To not talk about all of these moments that happened well before the United States even got into the war, that led to having the ability to go back and go into France and go into Europe Europe and to combat and have the intelligence that, again, Britain shared, Poland shared, right? A lot of people give Britain credit, and Alan Turing credit for being able to break and decipher the Enigma code, right? But really, that work started with Poland in the 30s. So let me see. I think I have the guy's name here. So I know, like I said, Alan Turing kind of gets it with Bletchley Park. If you've ever heard of Bletchley Park, where they did, incredible work to be able to decipher the Nazi code. Alan Turing basically went on to build what was pretty much the world's first computer in being able to decipher that. But that work had already been started in Poland a long time before that. In Poland, these people in Poland went to great risk in order to get their work in the Enigma machine they had to Britain so that they could continue the work, knowing that Poland was going to be overrun with Nazis. So the guy's name was Marian Rejewski, and then another one was Jerzy Rosyjski. So both of those people, and there was a few more involved, were highly, highly responsible. Again, Polish and British allies, people that weren't a part of the United States, that went on to help and in a big fashion, in a big way, go on to help us defeat the Nazis. Whether it be the FFI, the French Forces of the Interior, which was the French Resistance, right? There was the Maquis that you could talk about. All of these people, I mean, the actions of them just from D-Day. Right? I mean, the BBC was playing something like 200 to 300 different coded messages over the wire for the resistance members. And each one of them kind of had a different message, and they didn't make sense to anybody else. It was like, the cat's dog is on the table. The pencil is brown, fucking whatever, just random things that they were saying that the Germans didn't know how to fucking access or pick up on. But the resistance members, it meant a whole lot to them. So, the hours before D-Day, they were putting out coded messages to the resistance to say, okay, the invasion is imminent. There were specific messages to say it was coming within a week, or coming within 48 hours, or coming within 24 hours, right? Monotonous languor. I know that was, I believe, the one depicting the imminence of the actual invasion. But basically they took these, and right away, within about 4 or 5 hours of these messages going out, I think there was something like 3,000 different acts of sabotage committed behind the lines by the French resistance, whether it was blowing up railway lines, whether it was, sabotaging German vehicles, whether it was, making sure that, demolishing some of their weapons, whatever it was that they committed out. A lot of these acts, this was a huge help to the landings, the D-Day landings. And if the French resistance weren't there to perpetrate and to, enact some of these, blowing up the railway bridges and the acts of sabotage that they did, it would have been a lot more difficult for the D-Day landings. Again, the D-Day landings separated into 5 different beaches. Guess what? Americans weren't on all 5 beaches. There was Canadians, there was British. They would task, you know what I mean? Like, to suggest that it was all done by the United States is fucking ridiculous on so many fronts, on so many different levels. I mean, just the Polish resistance and what they had to face, both fighting the Nazis and the fucking Soviet Union, right? So they had it on both sides, not only the Jewish resistance, the Jewish underground in Poland, in Warsaw, when they had their uprising. I mean, all of these things did a whole lot, not to mention the USSR, right? As poorly as we think about them now, they were allies then, and we cannot fucking really throw away or not discuss the sacrifices that they made and contributions that they made in order to prolong the war, in order to stifle, in order to kill a lot of Germans, right? To make it easier for us on the Western Front to occupy them on the Eastern Front. Right. So even talking about that and how we had the Lend-Lease Act and how we supplied them with American vehicle, like to think that we didn't have like allies helping us. And that's going way back to World War II. I know, but there's so many different ways that we could think about it. Obviously, the Revolutionary War, right. And how France helped us then. We talk about D-Day and the sabotage, the separate beaches, the radio transmissions and the codes, the British Expeditionary Force I mentioned, Dunkirk, Tito's partisans, the FFI, like I said, the Maquis, the Polish and the English work on the Enigma we mentioned, so many of these things. British and naval air power, how we couldn't have fucking possibly done what we got done without British and naval air power. The Soviet Union sacrifices, as I mentioned. Again, we talked about how the U.S. was the only NATO country to invoke Article 5 and how they came to our aid in, again, Iraq, Afghanistan. So to not bring up these fucking historically accurate moments in details and to let Donald Trump get out there and spew this bullshit about how they didn't have our backs and he doesn't know, a guy that doesn't know a fucking his ass from his elbow when it comes to war or fucking military experience or anything like that. And we're supposed to just buy that bullshit. It's fucking so infuriating. It really is. And again, that leads me to this too, because I mean, why, how, these are all over the place, these types of videos and movies and books and things that you could read. I mean, this is just one little aspect of it. So I don't know if you know Freddie Oversteegen, but you know, some of these, and I pulled up a bunch of women that were related to the resistance because they just kind of, it just speaks to me more about how, especially in a time of the 30s and 40s and how, you know, women were treated and looked at in that time, that they had these prominent resistance women inside of these resistance movements that were well known for their brutality, for their, you know, their ability to lure in the Nazis, and their ability to get information out of them. So you had people like Sophie Scholl, Simone Seguin, Jean Moulin, Josephine Baker, Hani Shaft, and people like we're about to see now, like Freddie Oversteegen, right? So just incredible people that sacrificed everything and just were put in the most egregious and dangerous situations you could possibly face and came out on top. Right. Well, for the most part, came out on top. Of course, like most of them, it did catch up into the end. And like most of these people, I think the average life expectancy for somebody in the resistance was something like 4 to 7 months. So again, you can see how you know, you don't last very long in that line of work and how much you were actually risking. So if I could just play a couple minutes of this is just let me see if I could give you the details on this one. This is the woman who seduced Nazis, then eliminated them. This is from Weird History. So credit where credit is due to Weird History. And this is again just talking about Freddie Oversteegen and some of the work that she did in the resistance movement and fighting back. And again, how we could use and take some of this, I don't know, the balls that they had, the passion for their country, the passion for their countrymen and women, and standing up for what was right, and use that in today's fight that we have against the Trump administration. So again, the tactics won't be the same. We're not going to do a one-to-one fucking relationship here. I understand. But if we could just take the mental mindset and the, you know, the fortitude it took for these women to do what they needed to do in a time like this, and then use that in our time period and say, you know what, we can't be afraid to speak out. We can't be afraid to shut shit down. We can't be afraid to hit the streets. We can't be afraid to fucking, you know, get loud, get proud, right? That type of thing. Then we got to take it from this. So if I could play this, I would, just for a couple minutes, and then we'll move on. I appreciate it.
Imagine it's World War II. The Nazis are sweeping across Europe, and you're being trained as a covert assassin by a desperate resistance movement. And, oh yeah, you're only 14 years old.
14 years old. 14. Let that sink in. 14-year-old girl, and listen to the stuff that she was involved in.
Today, we're going to take a look at the story of Freddie Oversteegen, the woman who seduced Nazis to kill them. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel. Hear about.
Here we go.
Freddie Oversteegen was born in the village of Schoten in the Netherlands on September 6, 1925. Her family was working class and had deeply held left-wing political ideals. Along with her older sister, Truus, Freddie grew up in an area north of Amsterdam, where communists were forced to live.
So I'll give you a little background, and then I'll jump right into kind of her World War II aspects, you know, just to kind of set the stage here a little bit.
As the Red Zone. By the 1930s, the girls and their mother, Treintje, became part of an underground organization called the Red Aid, which helps Jews and refugees escape the burgeoning Nazi regime. The girl's father was also a political activist, but showed no sign of wanting to support his family financially or otherwise, so their parents divorced. Their mother continued to raise them alone while working in industrial factories.
So again, 14 years old, sisters, father didn't want to take care of them, mother raised them alone, just to set the stage. And I'm going to go ahead just a little bit to kind of what was taking place during World War II, so you can get an idea of what she was kind of the position she was thrust into, okay?
Against them in any way.
I just want, this is so you can just get a feel of the courage, right? In the circumstances that they were under, and the fucking, the ability that they had to recognize what was going on. And that's what I want us to kind of recognize. That's what I want us to be able to do, is recognize the time that we're in and recognize just how dangerous it is and what kind of reaction is warranted. So again, just a little history here.
Pretty much a death sentence. That being the case, the Oversteegen girls were showing more courage.
There's Freddie and her sister here just above me, as you can see.
As young teenagers than most people show in their whole lives.
Here we go.
In much the same way, a college football player's dedication and skill might bring them to the attention of the pros, the Overstehen family's fearless commitment to disseminating information against the Germans caught the attention of Franz van der Wiel, the commander of the Haarlem Council of Resistance.
Again, more people, more resistance, more underground that went into combating the Nazis before we had any involvement whatsoever in this fight.
Personally visited their house to ask their mother permission to recruit Freddie and Truus to the resistance. Kleintje said yes without a second thought.
So their mother, the guy goes to the house and says, hey, we're looking to recruit your 2 daughters for the resistance. And without a fucking hesitation, the mother says, go for it. If they're down for it, then fucking let them have it. Let them at it, right? And then they go on here. Check this out.
Freddie remembered her sister coolly replying, well,
oops, sorry, I skipped too far.
Join the resistance. In a later interview, Freddie would recall the moment that
yes,
Van der Wiel told them what their duties would be. Despite the fact that they were at an age when most kids are still afraid to confront schoolyard bullies, the girls were expected to sabotage bridges and railway lines and learn to shoot Nazis. Anyway, Freddie remembered her sister coolly replying, well, that's something I've never done before. Freddie and Truus were 2 of 7 girls recruited by the resistance. At first, they thought they'd be forming a secret army. It turns out their responsibilities were a bit different. They received their training deep in the woods, where the commanders taught them some military techniques, in particular, how to shoot a gun. They also learned to march. When it came time for their first mission, Truus was told to flirt with a young German soldier and ask him to join her for a stroll in the same woods where the girls had trained. As a distraction,
so their basic task was to lure these Nazis basically away from their barracks, away from their crew, away from wherever they were, lead them into the woods, lead them into an alley, lead them into somewhere secluded, and set them up, basically. That was the whole point of this whole thing, and just take them out one by one, do what you could to make sure that that person, that Nazi, wasn't responsible for killing you or your family or taking away your father or your mother or anything like that. And that's what they were led to do. This is the times that they were in, right? So this is the drastic measures that they were fucking enacting in order to fight back against this brutal regime.
Resistance set up a seemingly coincidental run-in with an acquaintance, which was just another resistance soldier. Once the German soldier was distracted, the fatal shot was fired. The entire time this was happening, Freddie was acting as a lookout a few feet away. She described the fateful moment in an interview, saying, "That man never knew what hit him." This became the girl's preferred tactic for taking out German soldiers who had overtaken their city. While Freddie couldn't recall how many soldiers' lives she had taken during her time in the resistance, it had a profound effect on her and Truus, as the latter explained in a 2016 interview. It was tragic and very difficult, and we cried about it afterward. We did not feel it suited us. It never suits anybody unless they are real criminals. One loses everything. It poisons the beautiful things in life.
So again, just a little bit of history, just to kind of show the dedication that it took, like the sacrifices that people from ages fucking 10 to God knows what were out there. And again, how ridiculous it is for Donald Trump and Caroline Leavitt and anybody else to downplay the sacrifices of our allies, whether it be the entire country or again the resistance movements that helped us throughout World War II. I mean, it's like we go on to talk about Iraq and Afghanistan and the hundreds of men and women lost by these allies. Like it's so infuriating to me to have at the same time seeing what's going on in our country and to see what's going on with NATO and Greenland, that we're going to attack the history, the long legacy we have with our long-standing allies and how they've come to our aid, we've come to their aid, right? Like it's on so many different levels. He's trying to ruin everything that this country has built. And again, I'm not saying that it was well built. I'm not saying that it was, exactly the way we want it to be built. But there was certain kind of fabrics to our society that were not questioned, right? Not questioning our allies, not questioning the support of our allies to us, not questioning whether or not we were going to defend democracy on a global stage, not questioning whether or not we were going to enact fascism and authoritarianism in our own fucking country at the behest of the president of the United States. Like certain things that nobody went on to question. Like we had problems, we had issues, 100% that things people didn't like about the United States, didn't like about our history for good reason. But there were definitely certain aspects to us that, again, people outside of the country didn't really entertain. And now everybody seems to be entertaining because of Donald Trump's lack of leadership. And again, people are fighting back. I want to show this as well because, people like Amy Klobuchar, people like Adam Schiff, even people that we don't like per se on here, Chuck Schumer and his strongly worded letters, I know that we've been mad at before, but even he looks like he's been at least stepping up and showing a path forward for a few in order to kind of fight back against this on the floor of Congress at least. So as much as we've had to say about the leadership of the Democrats, it does bode well. It does at least look like we have a few people willing to step up here where people should be stepping up. So I just want to show, if I can, a couple of these clips because I know it was like Chris Murphy, Adam Schiff, Amy Klobuchar all had kind of similar statements saying, no, we're not going to continue to fund this bullshit. There's going to be different aspects. And then there was this I wanted to dive into as well, because as much as we're not fans of the, the Pod Save America crew and Dan Pfeiffer, I think he kind of has it spot on a little bit here. And again, this is me giving credit where credit is due to people I don't necessarily like. So you know that I'm trying to be as honest and clear cut as I possibly can. But he has a good Substack here that a lot of people were talking about and kind of talking about the state of play, what can happen, what can't happen with the Democrats. So we need to be kind of living within reality as well and kind of talking about what's possible, what's not possible. But before we dive into that, let's hear a couple of the Democrats here. I think we'll start with Amy Klobuchar, talk about how she's not willing to continue voting and funding this any longer. So let's dive into this. And then I think, like I said, we had Chris Murphy and Adam Schiff was another one.
Our Republican colleagues have to stand up. They are violating right now ICE, border control, what you've seen, violating the First Amendment. If they care about the Constitution, they should care about this. Violating the Second Amendment, the NRA has come out and said, I'm sorry, you can't blame Alex simply because he was a legal gun permit holder. Violating the Fourth Amendment of search and seizure. So my point here is our Republican colleagues have to stand up and stop this. And no, I am not voting for this funding.
Let me ask you about another.
Okay, so she says plainly and clearly she will not be voting for the funding. Let me see if I can bring this in. I believe this is where Adam Schiff says something very similar. So let me see if I can pause, put this at the beginning, make it a little bigger, and we'll listen to this as well.
What, if any, role can Congress play? Obviously, the government could partially shut down again on Friday if Democrats vote against this DHS funding measure. My question for you, Senator, are you prepared to vote against DHS funding if it means partially shutting down the government? Again, coming on the heels of an incredibly long shutdown.
Well, I'm not giving ICE or Border Patrol another dime, given how these agencies are operating. Democrats are not going to fund that. The government will shut down if Republicans insist that that be joined with other government funding. It will be a Republican decision. They understand we're not going to go along with this. And we hope some of the Republicans in the Senate may see those scenes in the streets and be as repelled as we are and vote against that continuation of violence also. But if they don't, it will be their decision whether they couple that funding for these ICE agents and Border Patrol agents with all these other government agencies. They will make the decision. They're in the majority if they want to shut down the government so they can perpetuate this violence. But I'm not going to be a part of it. And I think anyone who votes to give them more money to do this will share in the responsibility and see more American cities, more Americans die in our cities as a result.
And again, he wasn't the only one with Amy Klobuchar. There's this clip here from Chris Murphy as well. Just about a minute here. I believe he's saying something along the same lines, very similar lines. So let's dive into this one.
Before I let you go, I want to ask about what your leader, Chuck Schumer, says, that Democrats are going to vote against a government funding package that is before the Senate soon, and it includes money for the Department of Homeland Security. How is that going to play out?
Well, we can't vote to fund this lawless Department of Homeland Security. And remember, it's not just in Minnesota. They're violating the law all over the country. I spent last week in Texas where they are locking up 2-year-old and 3-year-old kids who are here in the United States legally just for the purpose of traumatizing them. This is a nationwide campaign of lawlessness. I swore an oath to the Constitution, so did every single United States senator. We cannot fund a Department of Homeland Security that is murdering American citizens, that is traumatizing little boys and girls all across the country in violation of the law. Listen, I'm not endeavoring to fix every single problem that exists in the Department of Homeland Security, but we should only vote for a bill that puts constraints on this lawlessness, that reforms the way that they are endangering our citizens in our cities. So yes, Democrats are not going to vote to fund this version of the Department of Homeland Security. But if we can get some serious reforms that saves and protects lives in our cities, then we'll come to the table. But this is something that I think the American people demand of us right now.
And again, he's referencing this, and Dana was referencing this, I believe, as well. This was the statement by Schumer, where he says, what's happening in Minnesota is appalling and unacceptable in any American city. Democrats sought common sense reforms in the Department of Homeland Security spending bill, but because of Republicans' refusal to stand up to President Trump, the DHS bill is woefully inadequate to rein in the abuses of ICE. I will vote no. Senate Democrats will not provide the votes to proceed the appropriations bill if the DHS funding bill is included. And again, just to kind of, further drill home what is actually possible and what isn't possible. Again, I would point you to this. And again, I understand not the biggest fan, I know, but it doesn't matter. If somebody kind of gets it right, they get it right. And I'm not afraid to say so, regardless of who it is. You know what I mean? So I think that's one reason why people kind of trust in the show. It's, if somebody got it right, and even if we've called them out in the past and have, major problems with them, I'm still willing to give flowers where they have flowers to be thrown at them. So again, just to put this on the screen, this is again by Dan Pfeiffer, and I believe he is the co-host of Pod Save America. Again, whatever you got to say about that, but this is just kind of depicting what is actually possible and what isn't, and talking about the state of play. So this just says there have been, and let me see if I can make this a little bigger on the screen. How's that? That's a little better. So just to kind of highlight it. So he says there's been a debate playing out somewhat under the radar about how Democrats should handle the DHS vote. Many Democrats have argued that this should be used in the moment to demand guardrails on ICE's conduct, including a ban on masks and requirements for judicial warrants. Okay, and then he goes on to say this is a much more complicated situation than the vote that led to a shutdown last fall. Here's the state of play. And again, you can agree or disagree with this, but again, it seems to kind of accurately summarize what is possible or not possible in this state. So let's just see if we can go through the bullet points right here. So it says the bill that funds ICE and DHS passed the House on Thursday with 7 Democrats voting yes. Those are the 7 moderates, what you would call fucking almost center-leaning Democrats that are in blue states, but they're in redder districts, so they kind of have to play to their crowd. They're trying to appease to the crowd. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have happened. I guarantee it, but it did. So we have to go with that. That's what took place. So Thursday, 7 Democrats voted yes. If Congress fails to pass a bill, the Department of Homeland Security will shut down. The rest of the government will not shut down. Okay, so it says if Congress fails to pass a bill, the DHS will shut down. The rest of the government will not shut down. Congress has either passed or is on the cusp of passing bills to fund every agency other than DHS. Funding bills are subject to the filibuster, so to pass the bill, Republicans will need at least 7 Democrats to vote with them. Blocking funding will not stop ICE from doing what it is doing in Minnesota and elsewhere. The president decides which government functions are essential and can continue during an agency shutdown. During the government shutdown in 2025, ICE continued to terrorize communities. Importantly, most of ICE's funding is mandatory funding from the big, beautiful, ugly bill, that big, moldy, decrepit bill that we've talked about so much, and is not subject to the annual appropriations process where Democrats have leverage. Additionally, one lesson of the last shutdown is that Republicans will not cave. If they wouldn't cave on the Obamacare tax credits, which were supported by a majority of hardcore MAGA voters, it's hard to see them agreeing to meaningful guardrails on ICE, which is, again, what Chris Murphy just kind of mentioned, which is something that I don't even think we should be putting into the zeitgeist. I'm kind of with Dan on this. It's just not something that Republicans are ever going to agree to. Why would they if they wouldn't even agree to, common sense shit like, health care? But I know this is incredibly unsatisfying, he says, but I want everybody to understand what Democrats can and can't do and what blocking the bill would actually mean. And then he goes on to talk about why Democrats must block the bill. Masked, unidentified members of paramilitary force loyal to the president of the United States have invaded and occupied an American city. The president's flunkies in the Department of Justice are investigating the victims, not the shooters. They are also trying to prosecute local officials like Minneapolis mayor and governor of the state for crime of trying to protect their citizens from this paramilitary force. They have killed multiple people, and their violence and aggression are rampant ramping up, not down. I understand all the arguments against picking this fight. I know affordability and the economy are better issues than immigration and ICE. I know Trump, Stephen Miller, and J.D. Vance are licking their chops over this fight. I know how right-wing media will portray Democrats as being on the side of criminals and drug traffickers, and I know Democrats are on a trajectory to win the House. And there are real downsides to picking a risky fight that may result in losing politically and will almost certainly lose substantively. I do not care. Standing up and using every iota of your limited power is not just the right thing to do, it is the righteous thing to do. I really don't understand how someone can see what's happening in Minnesota and around the country and do anything else. Someone has to step up and say enough is enough and to draw attention to what is happening in Minnesota and try to stop it. He says, I really don't see any other options. He then goes on to talk about the politics of the fight. Brings up polling and stuff. Do Americans approve or disapprove of Trump's handling of immigration? But I think if you go on and read this in its totality, it's pretty much spot on. It depicts not only what's possible and not possible, but also the fact that we just need to do it because it's righteous. You know what I mean? It may not get everything done that we want to get done, but it's absolutely going to send a message. So I thought that was pretty pertinent, to bring up in this situation, just for us to be all on the same page and what can happen, what can't happen, what would happen or wouldn't happen, depending on which way the votes go and stuff like that. So living in reality is always good. And again, just, kind of bringing that up where I can. But yeah, I believe that is everything that I had to cover today on the show. I really do appreciate you guys. What do we say we get into thanking everybody for their kind and generous contributions to the channel? I'll start off with the old Venmo. That would be fantastic. And then we'll make our way into everybody that was kind enough to, send in a super sticker, a super chat, gift memberships in there in the chat. That would be fantastic as well, as we do at the end of every show. So again, if you're just joining us for the first time, if you contribute to the show, we always take time at the end of every podcast to make sure we go through every single one of the people contributing. That way nobody feels left out and everybody feels appreciated for keeping this channel going. So what do we say? We head over to Venmo as we do, and I will thank Roger. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. Thanks from Roger and Karen. Well, right back at you, Roger and Karen. Can't thank you guys enough. Moms, thank you so much for your contribution as well. Another tithing. Appreciate that. Very much appreciated. I hope you're well. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're warm because we're not here. I can tell you that much. It had already started snowing. I don't know if you can see here. Hold on. See here. Ready? Maybe you can see. It's really white. It's just really, really white. Ready? See if I can turn you a little bit more. It's just fucking white, baby. You can't even tell what's out there. Oh, I can't wait. I fucking love snow so much. I fucking love it. Actually, a good, probably, I'd say a good 3-4 inches already out there on the railings. Didn't start that long ago either. So we're in for a good one here. We're in for a good one. But thank you guys all the more. I very much appreciate it, Mom. Roxanne, thank you, Roxanne. Sorry. Something's playing in my ear. So Roxanne, thank you so much. That goes for Christopher as well. Thank you so much, Christopher. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Jenny Faye. Thank you, Christopher, again. And thank you, Thomas and Esther. I appreciate you guys. Thomas and Victoria as well. And thank you, JD, just to go over the last couple days of transactions from you guys. I really do appreciate it. You know what'd be great? If you stop looking at the door and start looking at me. Sorry, my apologies. But let's go over to the YouTube side of things so we can get everybody thanked and out of here, so you could either start shoveling or stay warm or keep the fire stoked, whatever you got to do, depending on what part of the country you're in. But thank you, Armando. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here for 4 months. Justice for Renee. Justice for everybody, right? Justice for fucking Alex. Justice for Renee. Justice for this country, if we possibly can. But Armando, appreciate you, brother. Can't thank you enough for being here. A very valued member of the community, so we appreciate you, bro. Thank you, Berkeley. What's up, bro? Thank you for the $10 contribution. Hey, B, I'm going to say what everybody else in this community already knows. You're not only one of the good ones, you're one of the best. I don't know about that. Again, I'm not very good at taking, admiration or compliments or anything like that. I've always been pretty shit at it, to tell you the truth, but I very much appreciate the kind words, the kind gesture. But I really do think that you guys in the community that actually build up and make up the community of Bryantologists, of lobsters, of, the Blunt Politics crew, you guys are actually the the best. Like, you guys are the good ones. You guys are the ones that make this one, that make the show run, that make the country run, that are going to lead this resistance. So I'm more appreciative of you guys in the crew than you guys are of me. I can tell you that much. But I very much appreciate the kind words, B, and I appreciate you being here. I hope you're well, man. And Wes, I mean, just what a contribution. I don't know if you put the decimal in the wrong spot or what's going on there, right? If you put the emphasis on the wrong syllable or what's going on there, but I do appreciate that. But if that's a mistake, let me know, because I know usually it's a 777. But just to make sure, I don't want to make sure I'm taking anybody's last couple bucks or anything like that if it's a mistake. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your contributions, Wes. Who else is in there? We got Mark in there today. Shut it the fuck down. It's all we've got left. Again, I'm telling you, I do think that is the correct and appropriate message to send right now, is to, at all costs, get a general strike together and to really actually put our foot down in the streets of the cities that really represent this country, and to send the message loud and clear to not only the government, but also the rest of the people in the world that we are not standing for this shit. And that is just my 2 cents, Mark. I'm right there with you, brother. Slacks, what's up, brother? Can't thank you. Can't thank you enough for your contributions and how long you've been here and contributing to the show. Slava Ukraini, heroyam slava to you. Love to you, brother. Love to all my fellow Bryantologists. Thank you in advance for all your kind greetings. I am listening but sharing the stream, so I am not able to follow the chat. All good, brother. Everything that you do to help share the show out, all your contributions go a long, long way. You guys, you know that Slacks always goes above and beyond. So please reach out to Slacks. Let's give him a shout out and a thanks. That goes for everybody else in the old chat that's contributing as well. So appreciate you, brother. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you, Bald Thanos, for the $2 contribution. Brian watches Deadpool. Actually, never seen it. Never seen it. Not a once. I don't know. Isn't that a Marvel movie? Is that a Marvel movie? I don't know. I'm out of the loop on those movies. I'm not a big Marvel or comic guy, but yeah, I appreciate your contribution, Paul Thanos. Thank you for being over here. Thank you for watching. I always appreciate your contributions here, and a very valued member of the community. So we appreciate you. Hope you have a great day. Thank you, Allie, as well, for the $2 contribution. Curse more. Let's fucking go. I know it was a very curse-heavy show today. I know I'm going to be filling up the swear jar pretty heavily tonight, but I think it's definitely a justified moment to show your outrage and anger in this country right now. I really do. So I will absolutely not fault anybody for showing their outrage. So, Allie, thank you very much. Thank you, Ricky, as always, for the cuss jar. Mostly me, but for everybody, I appreciate that, Ricky. I'll throw that right in. Very much appreciated. Thank you for your contribution. I hope you have a wonderful day. Hope everybody's staying warm as well. Thank you, JD. I knew you were going to pop in there somewhere. You had to. It's just you couldn't in this show, right? Thank you, JD. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the profanity bonus going right in the jar. As always, can't thank you enough, dude. Appreciate you, man. And thank you to Just Saying for the gifted membership. As always, can't thank you enough, beautiful. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your kind and generous contributions to the show. Helps in a tremendous way to keep this show on the air. So I very much appreciate all the contributions, each and every one of you. Same thing for Nina. Thank you, Nina, for the $3 super sticker. Very much appreciated for your contributions and viewership. Hope you have a wonderful day as well. Dame Dog. I mean, doesn't get any OGier than the Dame Dog. My brother from another mother. We're going to need a bigger switch. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I'll be sure to get the this month's Zoom dates out for everybody, so you guys can be up to date on those as well. So you guys can, anybody that signs up at patreon.com gets access to the Zoom chats. Just kind of get you an opportunity to put faces behind the screen names that you see all the time in the chat. Just a little bit better way to get to know each other. So Dame Dog, appreciate you, brother. Angela, unbelievable contribution. Thank you so much. She says the U.S. Fed government is no longer entitled to the presumption that they wish to maintain law and order in this country. Excuse me. Pamela Joe sent a letter to Governor Walz, in effect trading the Minnesota voter rolls for the return of Eleanor. Impeach that miserable woman now. And again, that is definitely something that we were going to have to touch base on. I think we ran out of time, so it's tough to put everything into a 2-hour show, but I do try, I promise. But Angela, thank you for bringing that into the zeitgeist. Thank you for reiterating that for everybody in the chat. I very much appreciate that in your incredibly generous contribution. Very nice of you. I can't thank you enough. And then right on to 50 gifted memberships from Peter, dude. I mean, Peter, you saint you. I can't fucking thank you enough. I really can't. That is just a very generous and kind contribution to the channel, and will do a long, long way in helping us get to 1,000 memberships. It's tough to get to the memberships because you always get a bunch and then you lose a bunch when they kind of run out. So it's always a big swing on that. But we're on our way to not only 1,000 members, but also 20,000 subscribers. So help us get there. Somehow more than 70% of you guys that come in and watch every live stream aren't subscribed. So if you could please check that as you leave the show today, check whether or not you subscribe to the channel. If you're not, just click that button. It is free to do so. It doesn't cost you a dime. Will not change anything about what you've been doing already on this platform. It just goes a long way in showing YouTube that you do like what you're watching, and so they can send it out to other people. So again, over 70% of the people that watch aren't subscribed, so please check that out on the way out, and I will very much appreciate you for doing so. Again, thank you to Angela, thank you to Peter for your incredible contributions, thank you, Robin, for being here for 22 months. We're all swearing today, bro. I bet you are. I know. And again, like I said, it's justified for you to be doing so, Robin. So let it out. Let the freak flag fly. Today is no better day to let that happen. So I appreciate you. Thank you, Pam, as well, for being here for 15 months. Dang, no free membership from Moi. Right back at you, Pam. I'm sorry about the no free membership. I'm not sure I follow on that one, but I'll have to ask you in the next Zoom, or send me a message if anything's going wrong or if anything's screwing up. I'll be more than happy to correct it, but I'm not sure I follow on that one. Kristen, thank you so much for being here for 21 months. People are saying Epstein and Maxwell are in the Trump files, right? Exactly. Again, another thing that, unfortunately, with what's taking place does kind of get pushed to the back, which might be the ploy, the plan, the goal the entire time. But again, a lot of people are continuously bringing this up. So there are great people. So when one person's covering another aspect, there's always somebody continuously bringing this up. So Kristen, thank you for being that person in the chat today. Thank you for being here for 21 months. Very much appreciated. Thank you, JJ. What's up, big guy? Appreciate you. He says, hey, Brian, I'm currently reading a prequel by Rachel Maddow. It's about the Nazi sympathizers in America during World War II. It seems appropriate nowadays. Well, that will be something that I would have to recommend to everybody in the chat. Very appreciative of you, James, Josh, for bringing that up. And letting everybody know. So anybody that's interested and wants to read about what's been going on and taking place and the relations about it, and is a Rachel Maddow fan, that seems to be a perfect place to start. So JJ, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the contribution. Another JJ, thank you, Just Julie 99, for being here for 17 months. Appreciate you. Hello, y'all. Right back to you. Appreciate the contributions. Thank you, Mark and Marsha, both for your one gifted membership. Very much appreciated. And then rounding it out today, we got Shocky. What up, Shocky? Keep up the good work, Brian. Thank you so much. Heroyam Slava. Slava Ukraina wrote back to you. And again, thank you, everybody, for another great episode. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. I do appreciate everybody for joining me, giving me the opportunity to be the one to bring you the highlights, the information, the facts, whatever it is I do bring to your daily atmosphere, your daily intake of politics. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. And thank you so much to the mods, once again, for dealing with my bullshit and being with me and being by my side throughout all of this and helping build this community. It really, really means a lot to me. And thank you again for all the support and love and appreciation that you guys show towards what other people on this side of the screen do as well. So I'll see you guys. What's today? Sunday. I'll see you guys Tuesday for the Tuesday show. If anything major pops up tomorrow, I'll be sure to pop on live and cover it. Well, maybe I'll be getting to do that a little bit more now since I got the time to do it. So if anything, breaking news wise kind of pops up, I'll see if I can pop on and kind of break it down with you in real time. So how about that? Sound like a plan? Sound like a deal? All right. I appreciate you guys. I will see you Tuesday. And again, like I said, if anything pops up tomorrow, anything crazy happens, look out for the notifications. If you click that notification bell anytime I go live or put out a video or a short, it'll notify you. That way you don't have to be kind of always looking and searching to see when we're on. So hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel. That's another great way for YouTube to be sending you the notifications as well. So thank you again to the mods. Thank you again to everybody else. And I will see you Tuesday. All right. I appreciate you guys. Stay loud, stay proud, get the fuck into those streets right now. Maybe not today. Wait till the snow stops. That's probably going to hinder a lot of people, but 2 feet of snow kind of has that effect. But get out into the streets, stay loud, stay proud, stay loud at work, stay loud in social media, stay proud at your family's house, wherever you may be. Do not back down, do not let down, resist at all costs, defy what is going on. And I'll be right there to back it up, and I'll be right here along the way, right beside you, with arms linked with my comrades to fight the good fight. So again, I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics, and I very much appreciate you guys for joining me. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, mods. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Peace out. Oh, it's got to be one of these buttons. I was so close to having a good exit on that one too, but just can't get it done. Thanks, Pops. I don't know if I need the microphone anymore. You could probably just hand me from the other room, but I appreciate you and your support. times, one of these shows, Dad's going to have to make an appearance. We're going to have to force his ass to get on camera. Too well liked in the chat. It's off camera. Hey, dude. Let's up and go. Oh, no. Up ice. Slava Ukraine. Let's go.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. Yesterday's a hard word for me. When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis. I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Fucking Nazis. Fucking Nazis.
You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it very well. I've become an expert on guns.
He's always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me. He's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
Referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
What in the hell was that all about? I'm just dandy. I got a bowl of chocolate pudding in my underpants.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful life. Give yourself a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely.
He's always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me. He's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
I can just tell you that a con artist is about to take over the Republican Party and the conservative movement, and we have to put a stop to it.
This week it was reported that an illegal alien, and you just look at this, what's happening. You're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
All right, guys, I'll see you later. If I don't catch you tomorrow, I'll see you Tuesday, okay? Hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate it, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. See you later. Peace out.
The big, fat, sloppy United States.